wanna see me mad. I'll be coming with that payback. You don't wanna taste that. Don't wanna see me on attack. Trust me, you don't wanna face that. Adrenaline, I crave that. Yeah, you know I'm nasty. I'm about to be a savage. When I want it, better have it. Nothing's getting past me. About to take this to the mat, and you'll be wishing you could take it back, yeah. Like an assassin, I'm praying. I gotta act on a craving. I'm coming after, I'm chasing. I'm gonna capture, erasing. Yeah, those who cross me, you'll be crossed off, cause I'm plotting. About to pop off, you can't stop me. Winning is exhausting, but I don't plan on stopping. As long as they keep talking, I got these bodies dropping. As long as they keep walking, I'll keep making deposits. They'll find out they can't stop it, cause they'll learn that I'm a prophet. Yo, I'm seeing all red. Got my vision blurry from the anger in my head. I'll never be second best. They gon' learn today what it feels to regret. You can't stop me now. The demons tearing out. Hold it coming to your neck, cause I'm seeing all red. Vision blurry from the anger in my head. I'll never be second best. They gon' learn today what it feels to regret. You can't stop me now. The demons tearing out. Hold it coming to your neck, cause I'm seeing all red. Cause I'm seeing all red. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss. See, I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python. Grab what I like real fast, choke until I have everything I attack, everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see, matter of fact. Cause I'm my own worst enemy. Only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every morning I wake up obsessed, and everything I do the best. And deep within my mind, you know I'll always manifest it.
welcome to my Mind Over Your Matter. My name is Rick, and let's get the show started. How you guys doing? Hope you guys had a good day. I'm here rolling up my medicine. I'm running a little late. At least I have it rolled. I just need to pack it in and then smoke it up. Got some stuff to watch tonight. I have a whole lineup of things to watch. Bit tired tonight. I am tired. I'm kind of feeling the physical therapy and the chiropractor appointments. And today's my rest day, but holy shit, I'm like exhausted. Hopefully I'll get this done within like 2 hours. Hopefully. 2 or 3. We'll see. See how it goes. But I do have my medicine rolled up. Smelling good. Oh yeah. It's a nice glowy night tonight. Got a lot of glow, a lot of candles lit in front of me, which I like the warmth and I like the radiant glow it gives me. But we do got some stuff to watch. So the first one is it's a long one. It's about 19 to 20 minutes long. So we should just jump right to that one and get it started. So we'll see what's up. Go ahead, jump right to it.
On to New York. You want to be the mayor of New York City, which, last night I chat GPT'd, where is the capitalist and global
Yo, what's up, Albie? What's up, Terry?
And it said New York City, which made me feel good as someone who loves New York City. Is that a moniker that you're proud of and one that you want to continue for this city?
We should be proud of it, and I will also say that that's one thing you have in common with Andrew Cuomo, because he also uses ChatGPT to answer many questions, including how to actually resolve the housing crisis in this city. And right. It's time that we are not only proud of us being the financial capital.
I don't know. This guy's
but also we should make it a capital.
He's a snake oil salesman.
Live in this city, because right now what we're seeing is that 1 in 4 New Yorkers are being priced out of the wealthiest city in the wealthiest country in the history of the world.
That's absolutely true. One of the things that's also true is that JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs have moved major operations to Texas. They've not abandoned New York, but they're hedging their bets on New York because of the increased taxes that they see coming if you become mayor. So when they do that, jobs move out of the city as well. So how does that help affordability if people in the city don't have the jobs that they once had here?
Well, I'm looking to make this a city that every person chooses, whether they're a business leader or they're someone who works for that business. And the key ways to doing that are actually delivering quality of life, public safety, and affordability for each and every person. Because what we're seeing right now is we have a broken status quo. We have a corrupt political system, and we have the politicians that sustain that.
You're talking about corrupt political system.
Whether New Yorkers want to continue that, or whether they actually want a city they can afford. That's what I'm going to deliver.
Your whole state is
Governor
corrupt.
Hochul, you would have to get approval from the legislature to raise individual taxes,
Yeah,
income taxes, and also corporate
corrupt.
taxes in New York, which you've said you would like to do in order to
why I'm
pay
not going
for
to
the
New York,
free buses and the free childcare
This guy wins,
and the different
I don't think
programs,
I'll go to
government
New
grocery
York.
stores and the like. She says no new taxes.
I don't feel like going
in her
over there. Why
governor's
should I
race.
spend my money over
So
there?
what are you going to do if she won't allow taxes to be raised? How will you pay for these programs?
I've said time and again that I believe these are the most straightforward ways that we can actually fund universal childcare, making buses fast and free. Mm-hmm. And I've said that the 2 clear ways to do so, raising personal income taxes on the top 1% by 2%, and raising the corporate tax to match that of New Jersey's corporate tax of 11.5%. Now, if there are other ways to raise this money to fund this agenda, the most important thing is that we fund the agenda. I still think that these are the most important and clear ways we can do it. And I'm thankful to have Governor Hochul's support in this race, and the fact that she said we have a shared commitment to delivering universal childcare for New Yorkers across the city and the state.
I think that's great. I think everybody would love to have free health care and free buses and all these things. But the question is, how do you pay for it? The city's already in debt. The governor says no to new taxes. Like Margaret Thatcher said, socialism's great until you run out of everyone else's money, other people's money.
Well, what Andrew Cuomo said is that if he had $959 million, he'd give it to Elon Musk in tax credits, because that's exactly what he did. And I bring that up to you to say that it's often a question of whether you have the willingness to spend that money to benefit working class people, not where that money is in the first place.
So what would you cut? What would you draw from to do it?
I don't think we have to cut. I've spoken about raising taxes on the wealthiest. And frankly, this is an issue that we have here in New York City, and frankly, even across this country. When I've spoken to Trump voters right here in New York City, Hillside Avenue in Queens, Fordham Road in the Bronx, they've told me it was cost of living that drove them to vote for Donald Trump. They've told me it was a promise of a lower actual, whether it be cheaper groceries, whether it be childcare, whether it be rent.
Right.
And what we're seeing time and time again is we're more focused on the question of billionaires and the most profitable corporations than we are on people who can't even afford to make ends meet in this city.
Well, we know affordability is an issue, and I think that all politicians are getting to an understanding of that, and I think that you've done a lot, actually, to bring people's attention to that issue. Let's take a look at the free buses issue just for a moment, because I know you said that the
he
pilot
can't
project that
control
you
the
did was one of the
MTA.
biggest accomplishments of being an
MTA runs the
assemblyman.
buses.
The Washington Post said
can't
this
do
in
that.
an editorial about this. Quality inevitably declines when a service is offered for free. Vagrants and drug addicts would camp out all day on New York's buses, especially in the winter. Parents would go afraid to let their children ride alone. Wealthier residents would find another way to get around, but poor New Yorkers who depend on the bus would suffer the most. What do you say to that? Do you agree with that?
Well, I would say that they should actually look at the report of the 5 free buses we delivered across New York City. We didn't see an increase in
5
homelessness.
free buses.
We did see an increase in New Yorkers riding the bus.
5.
We did see a decrease in assaults on bus drivers by 38.9%.
This
And we
guy's a
also saw a
fucking-
decrease
I don't
in
know.
New Yorkers who were having to take a cab or take their own car.
I
They
don't
were
know.
actually getting on the bus. More than 10% of new riders were doing so. That's why we care so deeply about this, because of the fact that it can
He
actually
sounds
deliver
like AOC
economic,
a little
public
bit.
safety, and even congestion relief to New Yorkers.
He has like an AOC like
I know that you're
line.
turning 34 on Saturday, and I want to talk about your qualifications. Some say you have never run a business in your life, so I'm curious. And President Trump said that you never worked a day in your life. You worked as an assemblyman, and you've had other positions in the government.
Look how he's smiling. Ugh.
What qualifies you from your
Can't
life
stand him.
experience to run the largest city in the country?
I want to take this moment because you spoke about President Trump, and he may be watching right now.
He
I
doesn't
just want to speak
answer.
directly to the president, which is that I will not be a mayor like Mayor Adams,
Well, now
who will
he's
call you to
looking at
figure
the
out how to stay
camera.
out of jail. I won't be a disgraced governor like Andrew Cuomo, who will call you to ask how to win this election. I can do those things on my
guy's an
own.
idiot.
I will, however, be a mayor who is ready to speak at any time to lower the cost of living. That's the way
Lower the
that I'm
cost
going
of
to lead the
living?
city. That's
What?
the partnership I want to build, not only with Washington, D.C., but anywhere.
What are you gonna do
across
about
this
the
country. I think it's important
migrants?
because too often the focus on the needs of working class Americans, working class New Yorkers are put to the side as we talk more and more about the very kinds of corrupt politicians like Andrew Cuomo that delivered us into this kind of crisis.
So the question I asked you was what specifically in your background gives you the confidence that you can
Yeah, he
run
didn't
a
answer the question.
$115 billion budget and
The guy's
run the
smiling.
city specifically
Oh,
from your
Lord.
personal experience and your background?
I can't stand
I've been a
this guy.
state assembly member here in New York City. I've represented 130,000 people in Queens. And in the time that I've done so, I've not only delivered more than $100 million in increased bus and subway service, I've also secured $500 million in debt relief for working class taxi drivers. President Trump knows this. New Yorkers know this
is
across the 5
bullshit.
boroughs. Taxis, as we're looking at them right here, are such a part of what we love
Taxis.
about
Have
this
you
city.
been to
and yet
New
those
York
same
Taxi
drivers
before?
were sold a lie about a ticket to the middle class if they bought a medallion. I stood with those
That's
drivers. I
garbage.
organized with those drivers. I went on a 15-day hunger strike with those drivers, and we secured $500 million in debt relief that allows those drivers to do more than just think about struggle.
How many employees would you be overseeing in the New York City
Lord.
government?
More than 300,000.
That's a lot of people. But thank you for answering the question. I know that you want to stimulate small business in the city, and we all walk around the city that we love, and we see a lot of empty storefronts. So give me your plan on how you would do that.
I've spoken to a lot of New Yorkers for whom their aspiration, their dream is in that small business. And I've told them that we are going to make it easier to not only open it, but keep it open. We're going to cut fines and fees by 50%, because as you said, we have a city government
how are you
that has
gonna get the money
$116 billion
to-
budget.
for
It's
these
not funded
projects?
by charging a restaurant $25 a year for the right to
I
sell
don't
frozen
know.
dessert. We're going to streamline the regulations
This
and
guy
rules that
never
these
ran
small
a
businesses
business.
have
He don't know how to run a
adhere to.
fucking
Because today, if
city.
you want to open up a barbershop, you have to fill out 24 forms, go to 7
Absolutely.
agencies, 12 in-person activities, and furthermore, we're going to have a mom-and-pop czar, someone that'll help these businesses navigate through this. Because
czar?
while we are holding these kinds of businesses to
What?
these kinds of rules, we're letting the most profitable corporations walk all over us here in New York City. And it's part of the problem where so many New
That's why
Yorkers
they're
look
leaving.
around at the
You're not gonna
wealthiest
have
city,
no
the
money.
wealthiest country in the history of the world, and asking themselves, there's all this money, why can't I afford $2.90 to even ride the bus?
So let me just quick question on that, and I want to get to public safety because it's obviously another big issue for New Yorkers. So a lot of individuals in this city pay more than 50% of their income in taxes. When you talk about a fair share, how much more than, what is the fair share? What's the number?
I've said that we should increase personal income
So
taxes by 2%.
is fair?
And my point is this:
Give up more than half of your income. That's
if you're making $1 million in New York City, or more than that, you can afford to pay 2% more. And the reasons you can afford to do so is because that money will be used to better your quality of life as well.
Yeah.
Because when I speak to the wealthiest New Yorkers, I hear concerns about the cleanliness of the city, the quality of life in the city, questions of public safety. This money is the money that will be used to deliver on those things so that we can ensure that we have a return on investment for all of the money that we are raising and spending right here across the 5 boroughs.
I want to talk to you about public safety and your relationship with the police. So just in terms of public safety, I want to go to an example first, because I hear from people that they don't feel safe walking home at night. There's drug addicts on the street, right around the corner here. You can walk around the corner and see people shooting up. A lot of garbage on the streets right now. The subway is something that people are really concerned about. Last week, 64-year-old Nicola Tanzi, who was a church leader, a pillar in his community, was brutally beaten to death. I tried to watch this video in preparation. It's very hard to watch. In a subway station in Brooklyn. 25-year-old David Mazarregos had a 20-inch sword. He's the suspect in this case. He was out. They lowered his bail so that he could get out. He was already waiting a trial for attacking someone in Chelsea. 33 past arrests. You were in favor of bail reform. Does that make you want to change your mind or think twice about reversing that?
This is a horrific incident, and it's the same video that I saw. And it's one that horrifies New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs, and it's completely unacceptable. And what it makes me think about is the necessity of providing public safety in our New York City subway system and across the 5 boroughs. And also, how do we end the revolving door? Because when you look further into the case of whether this individual or so many individuals, especially those suffering from mental health issues, what we find is so often the only mental health system that we have that's functioning in this city is Rikers Island. 40% of the incarcerated population there are suffering from serious mental illness.
Why was he on the street is the question. Why was he on the street?
Because we have a broken system.
They lowered his bail. He had a bail he couldn't pay. Then they lowered the bail, and then he could pay it. Imagine if you're this family, and they look at 33 prior arrests, and why? Why was this man on the street? What would stop him in your administration from being on the street?
Because what we would do is actually address the systemic problems that would ensure that someone who goes through the system this many times is actually, his issues are addressed, the services are provided. Right now, all we have is going in and out, especially when it comes to mental health. I'll give you an example.
Where would he be in your world? Where would he be? In a mental institution?
He would actually be getting services from the first time that he was arrested, as opposed to having to go through them 33 times. If you look at the New York Times, they did an investigation on 1,000 different incidents of violent crime in the city tied to mental health episodes. Yeah. They found that so many of those same New Yorkers were failed by the interactions they had with the city when they went for help for mental health assistance. And that failure is a blight, it is a stain on our city, and it's a failure that I'm looking to fix by actually transforming this with the only comprehensive plan for public safety of any of the candidates. Because what we are going to do is put out a plan and a proposal that we have shared with New Yorkers to create the Department of Community Safety that would bring together all of these pre-existing silos that address mental health crisis, that address homelessness into one department, provide it with the funding necessary, and actually address this crisis.
Where do these people go, though, is my question. Are you going to put them in a mental institution so they can be taken care of, or are you going to leave them at home on medication? What's the plan?
There's a plan right now that allows for involuntary confinement, which I think should be a last resort, because of the fact that when you look at the actual results, this is something that so often doesn't actually have what has been spoken about. But what we have today that actually works for New Yorkers with serious mental illness, there are things like Fountain House. This is a clubhouse model, peer-led rehabilitative treatment for New Yorkers with serious mental illness. It costs $4,000 to have someone in Fountain House for a year. That's the cost of being on Rikers for 3 days. And what we see, however, is that those services, they increase employment by 50%, they reduce hospitalization by up to 45%, and they actually reduce the cost of healthcare as well for those same New Yorkers. This is what we're looking at. This is why we say that Rikers is broken, the system is broken.
You can just see people who are suffering up and down 8th Avenue, just as one example. And I hope we'll have a chance to talk more about that next time. But I don't want you to leave without me asking you about your relationship with the police, because obviously this is a big issue. You said in the past, I almost don't need to go through it, it's been said many times, but that you called the police force racist, said they were a major threat to public safety, called them wicked and corrupt. And now the report that you apologized to 24 members of the NYPD. What did you say to them?
I apologized for the language that I used, and I spoke to them about the fact that I want to work with them to
now you want to
because what we're seeing in the city right now is we're asking officers to do nearly everything.
You're a flip-flopper.
We used to ask officers to focus on serious crimes. Now we're asking them to focus also on the mental health crisis, to focus also on homelessness. In 1 year alone, the NYPD receives 200,000 mental health calls in 1 year.
Yeah, and you know what they told me? That 1 out of 3 of those, the person has, they're very, very dangerous interactions. You're going to send a social worker in there?
You can always have a police officer actually come to address that. But look, you're saying 1 out of 3, 2 out of 3 times. If you don't need the police and you're sending them to do that, then why aren't you sending them to respond to shootings and murders? 5-6 years ago, the response time for officers was closer to 10 minutes.
This guy doesn't know what he's doing, man.
Minutes. New Yorkers deserve a police department that is asked to do the things that it can possibly do, not one that covers the failures of every break in the social safety net.
So police officers that I spoke to, they don't want a behind closed doors apology. They want a broad public apology for the things that you suggested about them. Will you do that right now?
Absolutely. I'll apologize to police officers right here, because this is the apology that I've been sharing with many rank and file officers. And I apologize because of the fact that I'm looking to work with these officers, and I know that these officers, these men and women who serve in the NYPD, they put their lives on the line every single day. And I will be a mayor that
What changed your mind about it?
You know, I moved to the city when I was 7 years old.
Yeah.
Now he's going
and
to
two of the
7
things
years
that
old.
I thought often about was safety and justice. And growing up here, learning about the case of the exonerated 5, learning about Sean Bell, learning about Eric Garner, learning about Michael Brown, and then 2020, the year where all of these tweets are referring to. It was the year when George Floyd was killed.
Oh, that's like George Floyd.
Had never been further.
Oh, God.
And it was actually Eric Adams in 2021.
You might as well get a dog whistle and start blowing it.
These two things. And so one of my focuses was, how do we deliver that justice? And now what I know, having represented 100,000 people in Western Queens, is that to deliver that justice, you have to also deliver that safety.
This guy's
and
a
that
flip-flopper.
means representing the men and women in the NYPD. It means representing the black and brown New Yorkers who've been victims of police brutality. It means representing the Muslim New Yorkers in my district who were surveilled on the basis of their faith.
68% of independent voters want more police officers on the street. And Cuomo, tomorrow night in that debate, he's going to say, I'm going to bring 5,000 more police officers to the street. Will you match that and agree with him on that?
I don't look to Andrew Cuomo for leadership. And
will you put 5,000 more cops on the street?
I've been very clear. I want to keep the number of officers that we have, and I want to make it easier for those officers to do their job. And what that means is that we allow officers to focus on serious crimes, and for all of the focus on the head count, we should focus on the retention crisis. When I started running for mayor, 200 officers were leaving the department every month. Now it's 350. And a lot of them are leaving because there's simply no way they can do their job in what's being asked of them. And to your point, however, Andrew Cuomo is going to say a lot of things tomorrow night on the debate stage. And frankly, I wish it was more like NASCAR, so New Yorkers could see the billionaires that were sponsoring him right on his suit jacket. Because this is a man who had 10 years. And I know now that it's politically convenient, he watches Fox News as well. So I'll just speak to him directly.
Oh, Lord.
You had your chance to leave this state. You took that time to sell out working class New Yorkers to your billionaire donors. And instead of actually meeting the needs of people who couldn't afford to live in this city, you gave $959 million in tax breaks to Elon Musk. And now you want us to believe that we can't spend less money than that to make every bus fast and free.
Elon Musk in New York.
All right. I'm squeezing two very quick ones here. So you can answer them quickly. Commissioner Tisch, you have suggested that you want her to stay. Have you asked her to stay, and has she said yes? Because I think that is one issue that would go a long way to her.
She's been arrested.
I've said that I appreciate Commissioner Tisch's record of uprooting corruption in the upper echelons of the NYPD. Yep. I've appreciated her presiding over drops in crime across the city, and I continue to actively consider her to be my police commissioner. I haven't made any personnel commitments.
Okay, so you don't want to ask her right now?
No. That's the kind of conversation I would actually have in person, in private, not a politics opinion.
Okay, it's an issue that a lot of people brought up with me when I told them I was going to be speaking with you. Last question. Do you want to have a World Cup czar? I know you're a huge soccer fan, Arsenal fan. I have a lot to learn about soccer. I'm happy to admit that. And I look forward to learning more. That would be great. What is this World Cup czar going to do for New York City business?
The World Cup is the largest sporting event in the world. And it's as if no one has been thinking or talking about it here in New York City government. It's coming next summer to the city. We're going to have billions of people watching. The World Cup czar is going to ensure that this is a tournament that New Yorkers remember as well.
What is the czar shit?
But it's a tournament that will signify an increase, not only in tourism, but for small businesses and an exploration of this city. Because for too long, we have had these kinds of opportunities that we've just passed.
It's a problem with the internet.
We recently had the 400th anniversary of
New York
City.
YouTube, I mean.
Most people have no idea.
Right, good point.
Because the city didn't do anything about it.
Well, you know, President Trump's going to make a huge deal out of the 250th anniversary of New York City. So maybe there's an example there. And he and his family, his son is a huge soccer fan. So would you welcome them to New York to enjoy the World Cup with you?
I would welcome them to come to New York City and also to talk about how we can actually lower the cost of living, because that has to be the focus. And frankly, that's a promise that's been broken.
This guy, how he's going to get the money to do this?
Saron Mamdani, thank you very much. Pleasure to talk to you. Hope we can continue the conversation. We'll be watching the debate really closely tomorrow night and the whole race as we.
Hey, Sean Hannity here.
Oh,
hey,
God, thank God it's over. Thank fucking God it's over. My goodness, I wanted to jump off a bridge after hearing this guy. He just mumbles the same shit over and over and over and over. It's just like, it's a repeat. I'm like, after a while, after like listening to 20 minutes, I literally want to jump off a fucking bridge. That's how I feel. I can't. He's going to win mayor, and that's going to be the most devastating thing that could happen to New York City. I don't think I'll be going to New York City. I'm not a hypocrite. I'm not going to go. If he wins the mayorship, I mean, I don't know. When is the last day for the mayor? Like January 1st, I believe. So maybe I'll go there for Christmas, but because I want to see the tree, and that's it. And then I won't go for the next 4 years. That's fine with me. You know, it's just, I can't believe they couldn't pick another Republican like competitor to combat this dude. No, we go to the past. We pick up this. I ain't even gonna go there. It's just, I feel like everything is just a trap. It's all set up for us to fail. Like, no matter what, we are going to fail. Let's see what else we got here to watch. I think YouTube is having some kind of issue. So hopefully I don't have no technical difficulties. But there's definitely technical difficulties on my phone with YouTube. So I'm crossing my fingers, and I'm hoping that it doesn't fuck up the show. But we'll find out. Here we go.
New York City Republicans throwing their full support behind Michael Henry as he challenges Letitia James to be the next Attorney General. Michael Henry joins me now, sitting right next to me. Here he is. Michael, is she gaining ground?
I mean, look, in 2022 when we ran, we received 46% of the vote, and the climate of the state has changed. Upstate, there's been a lot of economic decay. They fired 3,000 correctional officers. I think what's happened here with Letitia James is she's somebody that's gone around going, like just in 2022 alone, she went after the President of the United States, she went after Andrew Cuomo, and she went after Nikki Haley in the same election cycle. So she's somebody that's been running around punching people in the face, and someone's finally gone back after her, and she thought she'd be able to play this victim card. And what we're seeing is people are saying, you know what, she's been doing 30 years in politics, and it's basically her having to deal with what she's done with everybody else.
If you're elected, can you reestablish the decent reputation of New York's judiciary? Because I think it's been slammed by Letitia James.
In the state, most of the judges at the Supreme Court level obviously run for office. When it comes to the appellate courts, that goes through the governor's office. But what I can do is make this a professional office, because there's over 700 attorneys now. It used to be 650, and bureau chiefs and deputy bureau chiefs throughout the regional offices in this state. And what I have the discretion to do as the Attorney General is to remove those individuals that are not, to me, this office is simple. You're the people's attorney. You're not the Democrat Party's Democrat National Committee's enforcer. And what you do is you put bureau chiefs and deputy bureau chiefs in to oversee industries that they understand. You work in conjunction with local and federal law enforcement, and you make sure that people check their politics at the door and they follow the rule of law. And in my administration, we're going to have a competency test. And if you can't work in this office, streamline it, and make it efficient, you're not going to have a position in this office.
Competency test.
Correct.
Not a political test.
No, a competency test. Because
Okay.
Letitia James wakes up every day focused on three things: weaponizing the office against political opponents, attacking the President of the United States, and ignoring the issues that matter most to hardworking families in this state. And my administration is going to be a professional administration where we work in the best interest of the people of the state of New York.
President Trump says, look, he's not going to fund New York City if Mandami wins. He doesn't like his communist policies. If he withdraws finance from New York, they don't get a bailout. That's bad news for New York City.
Absolutely.
Can you do anything about it?
Well, what we would do, obviously, with a Republican governor, Republican AG, is obviously have a line of communication with the White House. And I think that's the key here, because we see right now, and look, forget about the fact that this kid's a communist and an anti-Semite. He's 33 years old, never had a real job. So when there's a blizzard and he has to get the sanitation trucks out, there's civil unrest, there's a structural collapse, the subway's flooded because of a hurricane. Does anybody think a practice smile and a word salad is going to be able to run this city efficiently? We don't even know who his deputy mayors are going to be. And at the end of the day, we are going to have to come in at statewide office and be able to work with federal government to make sure not only we get the funding we need, to make sure that the people of the city are, number one, safe, and number two, the economy doesn't collapse. And that's going to be the role of us next year winning these statewide races.
I tell you, there's been some polling done. Letitia James versus you, Michael Henry. Where do you stand in the polls?
So we're actually polling ahead of where we were at this point, or even at any point in 2022, because her negatives have gone so high. And that was even before this stuff broke about the mortgage crisis and her apparently marrying her father to get a mortgage and signing all these mortgage documents wrong. For quite honestly, we knew this existed, but I think now, because we have President Trump who could put out on Truth Social a statement, and now the whole world covers it, the resistance to covering her and her bullying people in some parts of the media doesn't work anymore. So people are seeing her for what she is. They don't like what they see, and then they see her go out there with Mamdani screaming unhinged at a rally, and they say, we don't want this. And it's not just Republicans and independents. There's a lot of common sense Democrats, especially in the big cities in this state, that have had enough. And when we focus on crime and economics, that's going to be able to bring them across.
Common sense Democrats in New York City. That's an interesting phrase, turn of phrase. Michael Henry, thanks for joining us.
Appreciate it.
Good luck to you, sir. Thank you.
All right, let's keep it moving. I hope it continues to work.
Well, President Trump is now threatening Hamas with major consequences if they fail to disarm and hand over the remaining.
Oh, look, there's a problem with YouTube. I knew it. There's a problem with YouTube right now, because I was checking on my phone, and my phone was giving me problems with YouTube, and I couldn't get nothing going with YouTube. So there is a problem, a major problem with YouTube right now. Check your devices, check your phones, check any devices to see if you're still having if you're having a problem or not, and let me know, because I'm getting this error, and I was getting it on my phone too. And now that I'm getting it on the videos here, so we're gonna probably be effed up for tonight. I'll check again. Let me see if I could reopen it to see if it opens. You can see from yourself, there's a problem with YouTube. Great. I knew there was something was acting up earlier, and I was like, but something attacked YouTube, and YouTube is down. I'm down. You're looking at the screen right now. I'm gonna refresh it, and you're gonna see you see how Trump comes out, and got a little box right here. Let's see if it plays. Let's see if it plays. There's nothing, no picture. Okay, so I think we're screwed tonight. We could change it up. We can always change this up. We could turn shit into gold. Let me try to refresh it one more time. This is gonna suck. Yeah, there's a problem with YouTube. Let me know in the chat if you guys testing out your YouTube. Let me know. Mayor McCheese would be better mayor than this guy. That guy's a fucking idiot. I can't deal with it. But can y'all check on your phones or check on your devices to see if your YouTube is running? Because I mean, on my phone, I'm having major problems with YouTube right now. I'm gonna check again here. I'm actually gonna check the web, see what the hell's going on. It says no, there's no widespread problem with YouTube right now, which is very odd because I got an outage. Somehow I'm not getting. Let me see. It has nothing to do with my connection because everything I'm on my phone and my phone isn't working with YouTube. And this just happened now, so the report should be coming in shortly, but I believe YouTube is down. And this is happening right now because you see it's a black screen. So, and I can refresh all I want, and I'm not getting any picture. Damn, this sucks, guys. Okay, so let me see something. Let me see what I could do. Let's take that out. Let's take this out. That one's not working. I doubt that this one is gonna work. Let's just come over to this window here. I hope it's gonna. I don't think it's going to work. Just to be honest with you, because I believe there's. I don't know if YouTube is being attacked. Oh, it came back. Okay, well, let's come back over here. I don't know what the fuck is going on with YouTube, man. I'm not gonna watch that whole thing from the beginning again. So we're gonna watch like somewhere in the middle. And let's listen.
We, as in the IDF, he doesn't plan on sending American troops.
Yeah, that's crazy. You saw that? The internet's going like the YouTube.
My sense is in the region right now is anything is possible if the ceasefire doesn't move forward, but it's tough to get ahead of what we know right now. The current plan, as laid out by the president in this 20-point peace deal, is to have Hamas lay down their arms, the leadership leave Gaza, and some Hamas members who commit to a peaceful future for the enclave be granted amnesty. And so it's a deal that actually benefits Hamas if they follow through with it. If they do not, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says his country would go back to war against the terrorist organization. The question now is what this timeline will look like, understanding that these images we see from inside Gaza show Hamas taking back to the streets of the enclave and executing their opponents.
Trey, isn't it fair to say it's hard to rebuild Gaza? It's hard to give food and water and other resources if you have a terrorist organization that's running the street. No one wants to go in there with that happening, right?
Absolutely, and that's why this broader peace plan presented by the Americans does two things. First, it has an international stabilization force. Other countries will be committing soldiers to help stabilize the situation inside Gaza. And second, there will be an influx of aid to the enclave as broader coalitions of countries, including Israel and the United States, work to usher in a technocratic government for the Gaza Strip, a more moderate government that is focused on rebuilding and focused on prosperity for the Palestinian people rather than war and trying to fight Israel. And so if these things move forward as planned, it would give an opportunity to the Palestinian people in Gaza to stay there while rebuilding efforts are underway. But you would have to have that moderate government in place to ensure that an organization like Hamas isn't stealing the resources, digging tunnels, and creating terrorism.
Where's the Palestinian Authority on all this? Mahmoud Abbas made some statement, 67 borders, but there is a Palestinian Authority that Yasser Arafat once led. What's their role?
It's a great question. And look, inside Gaza, even before October 7th, there was a divide among the civilian population. Many people supported Hamas, but many others supported Fatah, the second largest political party, the party of Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas in the Palestinian Authority that controls the West Bank. And so Mahmoud Abbas has actually been very supportive of President Trump's efforts because he understands, as a lifelong diplomat, someone who has participated in previous peace accords, that the Americans have the cards here. They have the power to implement this agreement, and you're either on board or you're not. And so we could see more involvement from the Palestinian Authority in the future of Gaza. There would certainly have to be a number of agenda items worked out with the Israelis, understanding that they would like to see a completely new government within the enclave. But to answer your question, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas has been supportive of President Trump's efforts because they're the only real efforts in recent decades that could lead to peace here in the Middle East.
Trey, we have some newspapers from that area, from Israel. We have the Jerusalem Post. It says the nation is elated as living hostages return home. At the bottom, it says the hostages are back. It feels so good to say it. We have some other newspapers as well with pictures of people returning and being reunited. What's the feeling there, and what are you hearing on the streets?
Weights have been lifted off the shoulders of the Israeli people. 20 living hostages were released as part of this ceasefire. And people here have been waiting for more than 2 years for this moment to happen. And we saw those videos, the reunification of families at local hospitals. Overnight, Lishai Miran putting out a video of her husband Omri and 2 young daughters playing at the hospital. And it's heartwarming for the Israeli people, but you feel it in the streets here. Last night was the end of a week-long holiday in Israel. It was called Simchat Torah, and you saw people in the streets of Tel Aviv dancing and holding Torahs. It's a celebration here in Israel, understanding that the people of Israel are now feeling the peace for the first time in more than 2 years.
Yeah, one of our friends here who works on our staff, she went to synagogue here in America, in New York. She said the whole synagogue stood up and cheered for Donald Trump when these hostages came home during the holiday. All right, thank you so much, Trey. Excellent job.
Thanks, Trey.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable that they're chanting that in Gaza as well as in Tel Aviv.
Never saw
at the same
anything
time
like that before. Meanwhile, they got a long recovery. The hostages do. And Eli Sharabi, he was on the program last week. He talked about how he lost half of his
Michigan. Oh yeah.
Today he talked about the recovery for the.
You know, a lot of people are going to be moving here to Connecticut.
Watch.
It's going to be a process. He has to give to himself time to recover, physically and especially mentally. It will take more than a few months to do it. He had severe trauma from 2 years in captivity. So it's not going to end in 2 days. I don't know why all the rest of the world surprised what he's seeing now from Hamas. We are the Israelis knows who's this organization. It's terror organization. It will do anything, to get control on Gaza again and use his power and use his weapon. And he has no boundaries for this goal.
Absolutely. So he said Hamas, and then his second one was the follow-up to how do you feel about Hamas killing 33 people who are members of clans that the IDF allied and identified, and he said it doesn't surprise him. So unless someone disarms them, they're not going to disarm themselves, it looks like.
He also talked about how some of them are so indoctrinated that the captain were grade school
Professors,
doctors.
I'm Steve Doocy. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And
yeah,
click here
YouTube
to
is doing
subscribe to
something
Fox
behind
News.
the scenes. I'm sorry, I can't even concentrate on the story. They're definitely, YouTube is doing something. I don't know why they decided to do this whatever updates they're trying to do. But my whole shit just got like really like out of whack. And I don't get it, to be honest with you. I'm like confused on what the hell is going on with YouTube. They're changing some stuff and it's in real time. So it's like I just don't even know what to even do. Huh. Fucking YouTube. And like, why would they choose this time to do anything like changes onto YouTube? Because I'm looking at the changes happening like in real time. That is crazy. But let me see if I could figure some stuff out behind the scenes. Well, welcome to Wednesday. You know what that means. Do you know what that means? Do you know what Wednesday means? Besides hump day? Let's see who's gonna answer right. Okay. So that one isn't working. Let's see if this one's working. This is crazy, man.
Fox News alert now, federal agents under siege. Immigration and custom enforcement teams are facing a new threat dished out by the drug cartels. First, it was violent protesters rioting and attacking ICE agents on the streets. Now, Homeland Security Department has announced Mexican cartels have put out bounties on agents in Chicago. DHS says those cartels are working with gangs and extremist groups to deploy armed spotters to rooftops to track agents' movements. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. DHS also revealed a tiered bounty system that cartels are using to incentivize violence. Now, all of this, according to the DHS, here's the price cartels are putting out. $2,000 to get information on ICE agents or to dox them. $5,000 to $10,000 to kidnap or hurt the agents.
That's crazy.
$50,000 to assassinate senior officials.
Are you crazy?
While the rioting heating up again, ICE and Border Patrol were forced to use tear gas to protect themselves from a large group of rioters in Chicago yesterday. Chicago Police Department confirming those rioters were throwing objects at the ICE agents, a serious federal crime. Still, Illinois Democrats are going after the ICE agents, maybe even fueling some of this violence we're seeing. One Democrat state senator posted ICE's behavior was unacceptable and that people in that neighborhood, quote, don't tolerate this kind of BS, end of quote. Assistant DHS Secretary Tricia McLaughlin went after that kind of rhetoric from the left.
It really is stunning when you're seeing these protesters, you're seeing these agitators, and you're seeing these politicians giving our law enforcement hell for protecting these facilities and actually protecting these detainees so they can get to the detention facility through their due process and out of this country.
Chief Border Patrol agent Greg Mavino allegedly faced a bounty on his life. And coming up, moments from now, we'll talk with him in Focus. First, let's start with more news on this. Senior correspondent Mike Tobin in Illinois. Mike.
And Harris, that class you were talking about with the rock throwing was on the southeast side of Chicago, and it started with Border Patrol agents spotting someone they determined to be suspicious. They confronted that individual, and then according to DHS, the individual with another person in the car rammed the Border Patrol vehicle, and that triggered a high-speed chase. That high-speed chase went near the Indiana border and ended with Border Patrol agents executing the pit maneuver to stop that vehicle. Two people in the car, both of them Venezuelan. DHS says they're in the U.S. illegally. One had an order for removal dating back to 2024. One got out and ran. They were both stopped. By that time, a crowd formed. Chicago police say the crowd started throwing rocks. CBP
How the hell these crowds?
Crowd control measures,
they don't work.
Tear gas. Both Chicago's mayor
What does
and the
these people do?
Criticize the agents without mentioning the rock throwing.
That's crazy.
Unfortunately, the abuses of ICE and of CBP.
This guy's he should be arrested.
And we're going to do everything that we can, again, to protect our residents, but also to get the courts to step in and stop them from abusing
This
just
guy's
everyday
abusing
people
the
that they are
system.
firing gas pellets and
This guy's a piece of
rubber
shit.
bullets at.
Now, the fence surrounding the ICE facility in Broadview is now down. It came down with an hour to go before the court-ordered midnight deadline. The mayor of Broadview has acknowledged that the protests here get out of control, so the area on the southwest side of the ICE facility has been declared a no-protest zone, primarily to keep protesters from walking into traffic. Protests are now restricted to a small area here on the northeast side, and the protesters are not happy about it.
It seems like they're trying to push us out or trying to make it so the protest is less effective. I'm not the only one that feels this is unconstitutional. People are going to get more angry and they're going to come out. And a lot of people are just going to simply defy
Just
it.
arrest them all. Send them to Iraq.
Now, the chief of Broadview Police told me that a gate is going to go in here, and it will be staffed by local police, giving them the ability to allow emergency vehicles through, and with the idea that it can keep protesters out. What you've got right now is a bunch of Jersey barriers and a state trooper vehicle in the middle of the road. Harris, back to you.
Mike, thank you very much. Greg Bovino, Chief Patrol Agent for the El Centro sector in California. You'll hear his name quite a bit. He has a huge story to tell today. He is leading the Trump administration's Border Patrol efforts in Chicago. And earlier this month, officers arrested a member of the Latin Kings gang for putting out a bounty on Agent Bovino's life. We welcome him now in focus. Glad you are well and can tell us the story. So first of all, how did you find out, Agent Bovino, that somebody had put a hit out on you?
Well, good morning, Harris. It's good to see you again. I came into work one morning and found that there was a bounty that was put out by the Latin Kings, by that individual. And I was notified that morning, hey, there's a bounty on your head now. So it was quite interesting.
And what can you tell us about what that does to, you know, just kind of the infrastructure of agents, of weaponry to prepare for such a thing? How are things changing knowing that this type of environment exists against you?
Things have changed a lot. Since those bounties were put out, we've had to take different measures to keep our agents safe, our ICE officers safe, and our allied law enforcement agents safe as they go into the field. And something else here that we're seeing is the lethality of the assaults against officers and agents. That lethality is increasing, and I think it's because of the bounties and that crazy rhetoric by the out-of-control governor and mayor. Lethality, like just yesterday, as you know, we had 2 illegal aliens from Venezuela tried to run over 2 Border Patrol agents. They were unsuccessful, and then decided it would be a good idea to ram the Border Patrol car before engaging in that high-speed pursuit. So that, along with weapons being taken to protests, the lethality is definitely increasing, and it's because of things like bounties and the crazy things that governor says.
You know, real quickly, and I'll move to the next. You mentioned officers in there, too. I'm going to think local officers on the ground are part of this, no matter what their sanctuary city or state would say, because they're kind of in between all of it. Are they in danger along with you?
You bet. And they have been all along. That's an unspoken story. As we have these illegal alien gangs, the Latin Kings, MS-13 Sereños, that puts them in danger as well. That's an unspoken story here that needs to be told. And I'm glad you brought that to light, Harris. They've been in danger for a long time now. That's why we're here. That's why ICE, Border Patrol are here in Chicago to take care of that situation, to wrap those gangs up. That makes it safer for those local police.
Well, look, this is hard to believe that it's going on, but while you're trying to do that, here is the backdrop. Particularly Los Angeles County has declared a state of emergency over the surge in the job that you're doing, Agent Bovino, in the ICE raids in the city. This move allows the county to offer financial assistance to illegal immigrants who are affected by rounding up the worst of the worst, including rent and relief and legal aid, all the things. Because when one person is arrested in a family, they're saying that impacts the family. The county supervisor actually said this: families have been living under threat and workers have been taken away from their jobs. Los Angeles County has a responsibility to protect every resident, no matter where they come from or what papers they carry. In an exclusive statement to Fox News, ICE said this: the only state of emergency is the one the residents of Los Angeles face after electing officials who give a middle finger to the law. A study found in 2023 the state of California had already spent $31 billion of taxpayer money on illegal aliens. And now they want to pay the rent and the such while you do your job. First of all, your reaction to that?
Giving aid and comfort to criminal illegal aliens is almost an insurrection, as the president says. Harris, we're apprehending child rapists in front of Home Depots in California, many of them aggravated felons, people that you don't want on the streets. We're apprehending those by the hundreds. You want to give aid and comfort to those people? You want to give free housing to those people? That's what's happening in California.
Wow. Well, I know that you all are doing a mighty job. I feel like I can't say this enough. Thank you, and stay safe.
Thank you, Harris.
Good to see you, Agent Bovino.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe.
Because I don't know how long the YouTube is going to be holding up, but let's just keep it moving.
Students at Rutgers University in New Jersey are demanding the university publicly support the professor who wrote the book on Antifa. That professor recently fled the country after Turning Point's Rutgers chapter raised concerns about the university employing him. Now, the Turning Point chapter is taking a ton of flack after sounding the alarm, with one member of Rutgers leadership now calling for the removal of 2 Turning Point officers. Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Emily Campagno here with my co-hosts, Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany. And also joining us today, Kennedy, host of the Kennedy Saves the World podcast, and Todd Pyro, co-host of Fox and Friends First. Now, first, let's go to Eric Shawn live in studio with more on this story. Eric.
Hello, Emily. Well, a Rutgers University administrator now wants Turning Point USA's campus officers booted after a professor said he fled the country because of death threats. Professor Mark Bray fled to Spain after he says Turning Point USA publicized his work on Antifa, and that sparked a firestorm against him. Well, the Turning Point USA chapter says Bray not only writes about Antifa, but he supports the movement. So the group started a petition to get him ousted.
Our main goal with the petition was to hear a comment from workers. We don't believe that he should be employed at this school. We believe that he is a danger to conservative students on campus. We wanted to bring light to some of his actions.
But on Friday, the Rutgers University Senate is set to vote on a resolution demanding the university support and protect him. In an op-ed piece, Rutgers president today, William Tate, says muzzling Bray is an example of cancel culture, writing, quote, "The role of the university, however, is not to prevent discomfort or protect ideology. Our responsibility is to protect the conditions for inquiry and debate. We do this by modeling the free exchange of ideas, upholding the law, and fostering a secure environment for teaching and research." Bray is the author of this book, Antifa, the Anti-Fascist Handbook. Half of the book's proceeds go to support international anti-fascist efforts. Well, in an interview with the AP before he left the country, Bray said he just researched Antifa, and he rejected Turning Point USA's claims about him.
I myself am not Antifa, although I do support anti-fascism. Broadly speaking, I oppose fascism, but I'm a researcher. I come at this as a researcher and as a professor, and the efforts by Turning Point USA to paint me as the mastermind of Dr. Antifa is ridiculous.
Well, a school administrator says Ava and another Turning Point USA officer on campus should be stripped of their roles because they are not undergraduate students. Ava is a graduate student. We've reached out to her for comment, and she told us that she will have a reaction to that demand as soon as she can. We'll get it to you when she does. Emily, back to you.
Eric Shawn, thank you. All right, Todd, let's unpack here. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, I understand the argument that he's an explainer of what Antifa is. Well, if you're trying to educate the people, don't label it as a handbook, because all the handbooks that I have in my house are how to do something, like my handbook on plumbing. It's not an explainer on the theories of plumbing. It's how to do plumbing. Second, to build off of something Eric Shawn said, the funding, this is from the book itself. Quote, at least 50% of author proceeds will go to the International Anti-Fascist Defense Fund, which is administered by more than 300 Antifa, his word, not mine, from 18 countries. So if you are funding Antifa, which has been designated by Donald Trump, the president, as a terror organization, you unequivocally should not be teaching at a university. Universities can be hotbed of discussion, different points of view. That's what we want. That's how a university thrives. But funding a terror organization is where we need to draw the line. That's why we're seeing such a push toward trade schools. If you just want to go to a school and get an education to learn how to do something, Rutgers and schools like it that are promoting this are not the place for you.
Yeah, and Kennedy, I wanted to dig into that very same point with you on the president, the Tate's commentary, where he talks about that, well, this is cancel culture, but isn't it simply consequences? And if someone is employed in a position to affect influence and potentially indoctrination over students and is contributing directly to terrorist organizations, to me, that seems like a no-brainer where it would disqualify them for employment. He's free to say and do what he wants. That's the point. But it's accountability and consequences that Turning Point here is seeking.
Yeah, I mean, we are looking at the consequences of private text messages, you know, possibly upending and destroying careers and lives. You know, this wasn't a private manifesto that he had on his MacBook that someone hacked into, but that's what he's acting like. He's acting like he's some sort of a victim here. This is a book, a handbook, a manifesto that he published under his own name. It wasn't under a pseudonym. It wasn't when he was cosplaying as some stinky anti-fascist warrior. You know, this is a guy, this is a professor who, you know, has conceivably spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on his education. And this book is the exclamation point on the conclusion that he has come to. And the conclusion, as we have seen in cities like Portland, it's pretty bad. Like, Antifa wants to burn the entire structure down. But what are they offering when the infrastructure is burning, when it's in ruins? That's my problem with this. It's not the idea that, you know, some of these establishments need a pushback. It's that what they're offering is dystopia. It is violence. It is potentially murder. It is unlivable cities. And, you know, that is what he's lobbying for. He's not talking about it. It's not someone who works in a counterterrorism think tank who goes out and studies Hamas and Hezbollah. They are not endorsing those organizations. They're telling us it's the same thing with the narco cartels. Like, they are telling us how they work, who populates it, and then law enforcement uses that and goes, oh, great, now we have intel and we can figure out how to defeat them. This is a full-throated endorsement of Antifa and nothing else. An organization that is very violent at its core and, you know, according to some, a terrorist organization. Not a great thing to be endorsing on a campus.
No, and Kayleigh, to Kennedy's points, they're also anonymous and they flee immediately. There is zero accountability. There is zero engagement, unlike Charlie Kirk and Turning Point that fostered debate. Take off the mask. Talk to me as a human. I see you and I respect you, and let's talk about this interchange of ideas. Now we see a professor that's simply fleeing the country rather than saying, yes, let's talk about these ideas. In part, it makes you wonder, because of the fleeing aspect, perhaps he too sees that this is a grotesque concept to stand behind.
Yeah, and there was even that self-proclaimed Antifa member who killed Aaron J. Danielson during my tenure at the White House in Portland. I constantly bring that up because I think it's important to highlight people who've lost their lives because of violence, in some cases from self-proclaimed Antifa members. This individual, Professor Bray, I was reading through an interview he did in 2017 with NBC. Bear with me for a moment. I think it's important we hear what he has to say. He was asked, you write that violence represents a small, though vital sliver of the anti-fascist activity. He's asked about it being vital. He replies, if you're organizing against violent fascists, being able to defend yourselves can unfortunately come in handy. Well, what does that mean? He goes on to say, the question is, how bad does it have to become before self-defense becomes legitimate? I'd love for you to pontificate on that a little further. But listen to this. He was directly asked, 2017, do you consider Trump one of those emergency moments where potentially more violent tactics are necessary? He says the anti-fascist argument is that any amount of white supremacist or neo-Nazi organizing is worthy of emergency consideration. This man teaches our students. How did this man get hired? One more recent example, October 4th, he says only mass anti-fascism, legal or not, can save us. I want to know more about these thoughts. What does he teach in the classrooms? It is very important to dig into this because, yes, you have First Amendment rights, but that right becomes much diminished when you are in a classroom setting and it's stacked up against professional standards. So, Rutgers, what are your professional standards?
Yeah, and we've talked about this. You're right. The First Amendment rights are diminished in a school setting. And in this climate, horrifically, of political assassinations, subjugation of the president, and being open about it, that is certainly cause for alarm at a minimum.
What is a neo-Nazi organized group that he wants to put together?
Yeah, I
Like,
want to
have
know
a
what
lot
the
of
hell that
questions
is.
based on his questions. I have to give him credit, though. The way that he wrote this is kind of interesting because he writes it as questions.
Yeah.
So, right?
That's
and
so true.
Yeah, he's not really laying down the law necessarily, and that's such a trick, right? That's a communicative trick. You just ask it a question, then everybody kind of reaches their own conclusions based on the 99 questions that you only left them one conclusion to reach. So he's kind of gifted at that. The problem with this is exactly what Kennedy said. That this is not being said in an open arena where people can exchange ideas. This is being said on a campus that's supposed to cultivate the ability to discuss those ideas, and also some of those seep in, right? Like proper English, those types of things. This is going in the same portals as good math skills and calculus. That's the problem. It's where it's happening. So could he have turned this into, like Charlie Kirk did, maybe invited some people to campus? Maybe he could have had a discussion. I don't know. But he put it in a handbook. And that kind of sells it for what it is, no matter how many questions that he asks. And it's someplace where people have their children. And some of them are over 18. But they're there to learn. So it doesn't all match. I don't know what they should do. I'm not a big, fan of killing free speech. The university is going to have to figure this one out with regard to that. But we know who he is.
I'm Steve Doocy.
Yeah, we got to figure that out
Click
because
here to subscribe to the Fox News
I don't know
YouTube.
how we're going to combat. Like, okay, free speech, you have a certain amount of free speech. But when is it like crossing the line where now we have to question free speech? Because it's something that is just not good right now. Like, America has a problem, and it's a democratic problem, and they're just this is what you call sore losers. This is what you call sore losers, and they can't take that their candidate, the one that they didn't vote for. Technically, they didn't vote for to have Kamala as their like president candidate. Like, they weren't given that option. They told all the Democratic voters to shut the fuck up because we're gonna do things our way. And all their voters didn't do shit. Didn't uproar, didn't protest, didn't cause a scene. Nope. They didn't do any of that shit. Here, let me make myself big. They didn't do any of that shit. They're the most two-faced, hypocritical like group of people, the Democrats that I've ever encountered, even just doing this on YouTube. My God. And you see, I pay attention a lot to the news, and I document myself watching it because I'm watching it with you guys. It's the first time that I'm watching a lot of these stories. I don't pre-watch it. Unless it has very gruesome that I think there's going to be gruesome, like with the Hamas and killing the Palestinians. That was crazy. But there's a lot of things that are, that are biblical for sure. We have, people writing books as I speak about what's been going on, and everything I'm documenting here on YouTube is being documented and saved. My videos are forever going to be on YouTube. So, it's like I'm doing my own little diary, and it's a documentary of what's been going on here in life, and it's pretty crazy. People are wild. People are really wild. we're just in really, really troubled times. Okay, let me see where we're gonna go. Let's see. What will I gotta line this up because I wanna line all this up. Let's line this up. I'm not gonna add no more. Well, I'm probably add one more, maybe. I may do a +1 on here, but I'm trying to just get through all these videos and watch with you guys because I have not seen any of these, and I wanted to save them for us for tonight. We even got a tropics. You know, we're gonna be going through the tropics. But we'll do that. Let's see. You know what? Since we're talking about the tropics, let's go ahead and go to the tropics here, and let's watch what's going on over here in the tropics. Let me set this up, and it's gonna take me a second. Here we go, and let's watch the tropics.
Hey, welcome back to Fox Weather Now. Thanks for being here at the bottom of the hour. I'm Ian Oliver. We're watching this cross-country storm still in the first third of its journey. The impacts yesterday in Southern California. Then we've got this storm moving through the Rockies at this point. Some pockets of big snow, but into the early part of the weekend, that will be the greatest concern for severe weather potential. That'll be the middle Mississippi, arcing down across the Arklatex, where it appears as though all modes of severe weather will be possible. Let's head back down to the tropics, though. As Lorenzo starts to dissipate, we said it may not make it through this evening or tonight. We are watching another tropical wave behind it. It's off to the south. It emerged off the west coast of Africa. That's a little bit unusual for this point in the season. Typically, at this point, that zone,
everything's not normal.
It's closed down for business, and we're looking more towards
make it big.
The possibility of homegrown, or at least closer to home, disturbances. Joining us now is research scientist at the North Carolina Institute for Climate Studies, John Euling. John, great to have you back with us. The last time we talked was right during the peak of the season. It was 1 month ago today. We were in that weird peak season lull. Nothing was happening. Then we rattled off 4 quick hurricanes. Impacts, but thankfully no direct landfalls. What have been your thoughts on this past month?
Yeah, it's been interesting. And again, thanks for having me back.
Mostly impacts to Bermuda.
It's definitely been a strange season. I remember last time I was on talking about the possibility of having an active back half of the season. It seems to be that that's exactly what we've had. A lot of hurricanes and a lot of activity in late September and early October so far, and a lot of unusual activity, including
we're gonna have hurricanes into fucking really far December 1st. That would be crazy, right? We get a hurricane in December.
The farthest, I believe, on record, right off to the north and east. It was kind of like a what's that? And now I would describe this tropical wave in the very same way. It's in a spot that we don't expect. And there are at least some signals in the extended forecast models, both the traditional ones and the new AI models, that in the Caribbean, there's at least some possibility that this develops into something.
Yeah, so it's been a bit of an unusual October. Typically, this time of year, we're looking more in the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico for development. And so far, we've seen quite an active wave train. We've seen 2 tropical cyclones develop from waves so far this October, that being Jerry last week and Lorenzo this week. And the models are hinting that this new wave that just came off of Africa, though it won't probably develop this week, as it moves into the Caribbean, which is a more climatologically favorable zone, a lot of the models are hinting that we need to watch and be vigilant for a tropical cyclone forming in the Caribbean around middle to later parts of next week.
Yeah, you said climatologically favored zone, which it most certainly is. Unless it's this year. We've had absolutely nothing in the Caribbean so far this year, but those sea surface temperatures are super warm. So it feels like it wouldn't take much. It wouldn't take a whole lot. Any pocket of reasonable atmosphere, and that could become an issue there in the Caribbean.
Yeah, exactly. Especially for a year like this year, where we've had an average number of named storms to this point in the season. It's been very unusual that we haven't seen any named storms at all in the Caribbean, but the conditions right now seem to be quite favorable. There's a lot of warm water. The shear looks like it's going to be relatively low, which has not been the case for a large part of this season, which is part of the reason we haven't seen much activity in the Caribbean this year. And so the conditions are primed next week for the potential for a hurricane to develop. And so it's a wave that we really need to keep an eye on, especially as we get into next week.
John, it feels like we've had a couple of main development region waves that we said that's the last wave because climatologically it should be. This one looks like it probably is that, at least by all accounts, as far as we can see in the reliable forecast models. So outside of this one and maybe a gyre type setup, it feels like that would be getting us at least close to the end of this thing.
Yes, we're definitely getting to the wind down part of the 2025 hurricane season. And so this wave seems to be the last wave that's really going to have a shot at developing into anything significant. And again, barring some sort of gyre type system, which is always a possibility in October and November, it seems that our chances of experiencing a significant hurricane impact are winding down, thankfully.
Well, John, last time we talked to you, things immediately following got awfully busy. So we hope that that won't be the case this go around and we can get this 2025 season in the rearview mirror. That's research scientist at the North Carolina Institute for Climate Studies, John Euling. Great catching up and talking tropics with you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me again.
All right.
All right. Well, I guess there's going to be a system that's going to be affecting the Caribbean. Don't know. They don't even know if it's going to, let's make myself big here. They don't even know what it's going to do. Like this year, the weatherman has just been really everything. The weather's been erratic. I think us spinning a little bit faster, with the world spinning a little bit faster, is making things go a little off balance, and the weather is just acting erratic, like really erratic. Like fall pretty started much early. We're getting nice colors out here. We're not at peak yet, but we're getting pretty close. Maybe in a week or two, it should be in its peak form of fall. But it's just with the weather, especially with the hurricane season, because I watch every year since I was a kid, and I grew fond of watching the Weather Channel and just like experiencing like how the systems are developing and just looking at them and checking on their speed and where they're at. And I remember living in Florida, I used to go to Publix. It's a supermarket down in Florida called Publix, and I used to shop at Publix. And my parents, I remember we used to go to Publix and Winn-Dixie also, which is two Florida companies, supermarkets. So even Winn-Dixie, when we used to go to Winn-Dixie, they used to give us the hurricane map, which it was free, and it was like when you cash out, they put a map in your bag. So when you got home, you have to track storms. You know, they give you the longitude, the latitude, and the longitude, and you pinpoint. You know, you get a marker or pen, and you just make dots, and then you see the progression and where it's going and stuff. I grew up with that. I was a very nerdy little kid, especially with the weather, and this season has it's been weird. It's been weird for a good 10 years. The hurricane season, I've noticed more dry air. I've noticed more like instability with the high pressures. Um, we had a Fujiwara effect, just not like less than a month ago. Just living in unique times, like everything that we haven't, like, I don't know, there's so much more to expect. There's so much more that needs to happen, and just weird shit is going on, and the energy is very weird. Like, I just feel like the earth is going too fast. I feel like everything's going too fast. um I feel off balance a lot. It could just be me, but a lot of things are just really expedited. And then how do they know this guy's gonna be mayor of New York City? They're like declaring it. They're like, yeah, in 6 weeks, the Madani's gonna be mayor. He's mayor. He's gonna be the one. He's like, the election is not until November 4th. We're just a few weeks away, and you're already throwing him, like, you're giving him the flowers already, and the horse hasn't even crossed the line yet. That's what I'm telling you. I believe the voting system in New York is corrupt. I hope Trump and his team, like, do a full audit on their voting machines, and see how their voting machines are, and cross check, because I just believe something really sinister is happening in New York when it comes to the elections. I'm just saying, I'm a psychic. I speak my mind. It's my mind over your matter, motherfuckers. And fuck you, YouTube and Google and everybody else, that likes to fuck around. Go fuck yourselves, especially YouTube. Um, but I just see a lot of people moving from New York to Connecticut. They'll probably work, in New York, and probably be taxed like a fucking idiot, and then they'll live in Connecticut, or they'll just leave New York, period. But I see a lot of exodus. I see them all coming to fucking Connecticut, and we already have a lot of fucking immigration problems here. And the fact that we need more ICE, we need more here in Connecticut, it's very dire. Okay, every night, every day, there's always some fucking shit going on here in this state, and people are turning up missing. People are just disappearing. Like, it's just, what the fuck is going on? There's a I don't know. It's just, and I feel weird inside. I'm feeling the energy, really weird energy. The sun is going crazy too. Well, all the energy, it's just interacting, I guess, with the 3i Atlas, and the sun is having more solar flares, and the more solar flares is building up, it's throwing at the earth, and people can't handle that energy. They go crazy, and then they start killing, and they start doing all this crazy stuff because they're too sensitive to energy. I sound like a broken record. No. All right, let's check out this story. Oh, this is the little girl. I'm gonna be covering this story. I'm probably gonna go to that courthouse November 14th, and probably just film from the courthouse. It's my motherfucking mind over your matter. I could just go wear my shirt and be like, I'm here live at the courthouse in Hartford, Connecticut, where we're covering the court date of blah, 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 blah. And, fuck it. Now I'll have Tyson use the footage. I was like, Tyson, you want? I'll take you some B-roll. Because he's going to do a story on that. Okay, that's one thing I'm going to talk to him about, is what happened here with this murder case, and I want him to do a full story on that and how people are disappearing. All of a sudden, people are just disappearing. Yep. But the media won't tell you that. They keep it quiet. Nationally, oh, they keep it quiet. Because this story, you haven't heard it nationally yet. It's all been local here. And I'm going to show you guys this story. Can't believe this girl's not. It's like, beautiful girl. And she suffered. Oh, she suffered. Listen, I'm a psychic. I'm an empath medium. I feel things, see things, hear things, just know things, but I really feel things. And I'm very sensitive. Very, very, very clairvoyant. And this girl, man, she, like, I feel pain around the hips, like inner thigh pain. She was abused, she was slapped, she was punched, she was like sexually abused. Yes. Oh, disgusting. Hurts my stomach hurts. You know, it's just she didn't deserve what she went through. And these people are monsters who did this to her. So let's watch.
A lot of questions about the death of a 12-year-old girl. Today, we learned police in Farmington searched a home on Wellington in connection to the case of Jacqueline Torres Garcia. Police say she was allegedly killed last year in Farmington, but her remains were not found until last week in New Britain. 3 people are now behind bars in connection to this case, including her mother, Carla Garcia, and Carla's boyfriend, Jonathan Nanita, both charged with murder. The girl's aunt is charged with child cruelty.
And the tragic death of this young girl has raised more questions about homeschooling. Jacqueline was pulled out of school because her mother said she was going to educate her at home.
This case and a few others are once again pushing lawmakers to find a way to try to protect children. Your chief political reporter,
They should do checkups, you know?
Susan.
Have a state officer go check on them.
Lawmakers have had public hearings here at the state capitol in Hartford, and those who support homeschool and homeschoolers have shown up. In fact, they have been a very vocal crowd. They do not want to see lawmakers take away their rights. However, lawmakers are telling us they don't want to take away their rights, but they want more checks and balances. The death of 12-year-old Jacqueline is an unimaginable tragedy. Police say she was abused and neglected by her own family. Her body was kept in the basement of her Farmington home. Then her remains were taken in a plastic container and left in the back of an abandoned home in New Britain. No one reported her missing for a year. And on the first day of 6th grade, her mother pulled her out of school.
I want to work again with the legislature to see how we can do a better job of making sure some of these kids that aren't going to school every day.
Jacqueline was not in the public school system. Her mother, police say, said she planned to homeschool her. Just last year, there was another tragic case involving a Waterbury youth. After 20 years in captivity, he set his room on fire, hoping to escape. Police found him severely emaciated, weighing only 68 pounds. His stepmother pulled him out of school in 4th grade, saying she wanted to homeschool him.
Wow.
This latest tragedy in New Britain and the one earlier or last year has only reignited the debate over homeschooling. And coming up on Eyewitness News at 6, lawmakers on both sides react to what's happening, and those who support homeschooling, all of them weigh in on what they feel should happen. Your chief political reporter, Susan Ralph, Channel 3, live at the state capitol.
All right, Susan.
Wow, Susan, that's crazy. That's just crazy. Oh my goodness. That hurts me. All right, let's keep it moving.
Now I can say with confidence, Mr. President, that you have given him the best birthday gift he could ever have.
Okay, but all right. Sorry, I had to pause it. Let's come back to me. Before we go to the story. I don't know. That Charlie case, man. Charlie's always been on my mind. He's always on my mind every day. And I don't know why with this lady, Erica, right? Why would she go to the White House with a black see-through dress? You know, not see-through in the front as much, but showing a lot of skin through the see-through of the black. Why would you do that? Especially you're honoring your husband's like 32nd birthday would have been, and he's given the presidential like medal of like freedom, I believe. But why would she dress like that? I mean, I know if Charlie was here, he would tell me, no, you're not, don't wear that to the White House, please. More and more, I feel like, I know Charlie's set up, he was set up. I keep hearing it. And more and more it gets like dirtier. And I just have more negative thoughts. Like he was set up from within. He was set up from within. All right, let's continue the story. I don't know why she's wearing that top. I just don't like it. I don't like it. Like, hold on, let me make it a bit bigger so you guys can see a bigger picture of what I'm looking at. Like, that's a lot of skin. You know, and trying to preach like for religion and so forth, and okay, great, but you're wearing your top of your see-through like outfit here is not really appealing.
Erica Kirk got emotional while paying tribute to late husband Charlie Kirk on what would have been his 32nd birthday. The right-wing activist's widow appeared alongside President Donald Trump.
Because she was wearing all black, I understand, but you see how it's like see-through on the top and the arms.
Posthumous presidential.
Look at that. Look at that for a second. Would you let your wife out looking like that? I had to put back my glasses. Oh, hell to the no. No. That you look trashy. That's a trashy shirt. No. I'm sorry, Erica. Something about you smells something funny. You know, it's just something's just not right. I feel something not right with her. But they're giving you an honor, like to pass down to your children, because those are Charlie's children too, to pass it down to, and you're here wearing the see-through shirt. I don't know. Let's just keep it moving.
Medal of Freedom, noting the significant timing of the ceremony.
I was going to call Erica and say, Erica, could you maybe move it to Friday? And I didn't have the courage to call. But you know why I didn't call? Because I heard today was Charlie's birthday. And I said, you know, that was a definite.
Erica accepted the honor on Charlie's behalf and was seen wiping tears while reflecting on the legacy he leaves behind and whether she thinks he would have been commander-in-chief one day.
There was no limit to what
that's why they
he would
killed
have
him.
Sacrificed to defend freedom for all. And if the moment had come, he probably would have run for president, but not out of ambition. He would only have done it if that was something that he believed that his country needed.
That's what Trump. Same thing Trump.
The event comes 1 month after Charlie was
they took his life
during a speaking engagement at Utah Valley University, where he was debating students on campus as part of his America Comeback Tour. The Turning Point USA founder was a divisive figure whose controversial rhetoric drew intense support and backlash. He and the former Miss Arizona USA married in 2021 and shared 2 young children. In her remarks, Erica delivered a heartfelt
I just
message
don't like that
from
shirt.
her and Charlie's 3-year-old daughter, and
Could have
smiled
done
when sharing
different.
a big milestone for their 1-year-old son.
Happy birthday, Daddy. I want to give you a stuffed animal.
I just don't see tears. You know what I mean? She's patting her eyes, whatever.
I want
Let
you
those
to eat a
tears
cupcake
run.
with ice cream.
Let that makeup run.
And I want you to go have a birthday surprise. I love you, is what she says.
I don't
And
know.
while our son is precious, he can't yet speak. In
You know what I
classic
mean?
Kirk family fashion, his actions spoke louder than his words. And his gift to you, Charlie, and myself for that matter, was deciding to become the man of the house and be fully potty trained at 16 months. But Charlie, baby, I know that you're celebrating in heaven today, but gosh, I miss you.
I don't know about her. Give me a second here, because I don't know, man. How you guys feel about that? I mean, that what she's wearing, that top, I would be like, nope, that's not. If I was a friend of hers and I was like a stylist for her, no, we're not doing that. Like, why are you wearing black? This is a celebration. It's his 32nd, like, would have been his 32nd birthday. Why are you wearing all black? I don't get it. Listen, I'm getting pain in my stomach when something's just not right. Something's just not right with that whole JFK 2.0. All right, let's keep it moving. Let's see, what is this? We'll find out. Oh, right. They're arresting people.
Hey, come on, get back!
These people are. What is the purpose? Why are they protecting these criminals? That's what I don't get. Like, is the cartel that deep that they're paying off these people? I mean, who's paying for this? Has to be the cartels. Has to be, someone to, like, with the name maybe related to Oro. I don't know, but this is not normal. Fascist. You hear the Karen? Karen? Corn. Oh, Karen.
Sir, what's your name? What's your name?
Debbie Brockman, I work for WGN. Let them know.
I got you. Yep. Debbie Browning? Brockman, WGN. Do you guys want to share your names too, or I'm just going to cover your face?
Couldn't cover your face a couple years ago.
Okay, Mr. Condemnation. Yeah. Oh my God.
You see, you should be arrested too.
Get the fuck out. Fuck you. Get
Hopefully your wife and children.
See,
make
this
it
is the
home.
problem. You know, they're arresting
Vehicle, honestly. Yeah.
and they're blocking them in. So I move over. You see, they're blocking in the ice. You see, they're blocking ice. There's a vehicle there blocking in ice.
Fucking bullshit.
So ice goes around, takes his bumper. Takes his bumper. Yeah, you're blocking him in.
Yep.
You're in the wrong side of the road.
Yeah. What's your
Hey,
You're gonna get paid.
block.
It's gonna suck.
They're blocking in the cop, and the cops had to take this action.
Whoa.
Wait, you guys came to the school and to
You came to the school?
They haven't
You have a
asked for
warrant?
My name is Jocelyn from Cicero. They don't have a warrant. They didn't ask for one. They forcefully opened the door of the truck. It was locked. It was locked.
Yeah, they were gonna get you.
Stay back, please. You're being arrested for
Yeah, but you guys came to the school?
If they're illegal, they gotta go.
Whoa.
Please step back, please. You're okay.
I know I'm okay, but I'm worried about other people.
No, it's not your problem. Why are you up in people's business?
No.
See, this is the nosy Karen. Nosy Karen.
They were coming to get their kid?
Nosy Karen, take out your camera.
They don't have to answer my question?
Nosy Karen,
Wait,
wants
what? Are they coming to get a child?
transform nosy Karen into dancing Karen. Now we're getting pepper sprayed. Oh, someone got hit in the head. Get off my land, oh Lord. Because they think because they're born here that this is their land, right? This land that doesn't belong to none of us.
Oh shit.
We're just fleas on it. We're just a bunch of fleas. And there's a lot of fleas that don't want to get along. And they want things their way. Their way or the highway.
Oh shit.
Kick it back, kick it back. He's an asshole. There you go.
Yeah!
That guy was an asshole.
Oh
He's an
shit.
asshole. That's a fucked up move. That's a coward move. That's a pussy move.
They should go after these people and just put them in jail too.
That's a pussy move, man. They're aiming the gun. Yeah, that's fucked up. That was fucked up. That's a pussy move.
At least, like, you got these commentators. You got Karen commentators to the front. It's your turn.
That's great. They got a little baby that let it took out the baby.
Complain more, Karens to the front. We need more Karens.
OC, gas, gas, gas.
Open this window!
That's bogus.
Oh boy. Oh, thank goodness we're done with that. That's crazy. It's like, oh, Karens, unite. And remember your questions and know your rights. Right. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. All right, what's this one is about?
Shutdown. However, at this hour, we do have some breaking news about Secretary Hegseth, and I did want to share this social media post with you from Sean Parnell. He says that, quote, on the way back to the United States from NATO's defense ministers meeting, Secretary of War Hegseth's plane made an unscheduled landing in the United Kingdom due to a crack in the aircraft windshield. The plane landed based on standard procedures, and everyone on board, including Secretary Hegseth, is safe. So we did want to bring you that breaking news as Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth warned Moscow earlier today while he was at that NATO summit that the United States and its allies would, quote, impose costs on Russia for its continued aggression if the war in Ukraine does not come to an end. So we were sharing some remarks earlier from Secretary Hegseth as he was addressing some of the leaders there at the NATO summit, talking about increasing U.S. weapons purchases for Ukraine and heading back to the United States from that meeting. So we did want to share that breaking news with you, stating that on the way back to the United States from NATO's defense ministers meeting, Secretary Hegseth's plane made an unscheduled landing in the United Kingdom due to a crack in the aircraft windshield. The plane landed based on standard procedures, and everyone aboard, including Secretary Hegseth, is safe. Any new information about this breaking news, we will bring that to you right here on Live Now from Fox, as Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth was attending a meeting with NATO allies. They were discussing the ongoing war between Ukraine and Russia. He was headed back to the United States when there was that unscheduled stop in the United Kingdom because of a crack in the aircraft windshield.
Wow. It wasn't all cracked up to be. Thank God they got it, and hopefully, they fixed it, and he's back already in the United States, so it's all good.
Now it's breaking news in the disappearance of 23-year-old Kata Scott. Philadelphia police have just revealed that a suspect has now been arrested and charged with kidnapping.
21-year-old Keon King is in police custody. Officials released new images of King's vehicle, which they believe was involved in her disappearance. Scott is still missing, and so is King's car. Investigators say they are proceeding with the search for both her and the vehicle as if she is still alive.
Action News reporter Becca Hendrickson's live for us now at police headquarters with more details on what we learned from police a short time ago. Becca?
John and Sarah, police say all roads in this case lead back to 21-year-old Keon King. He is in police custody, but investigators say he's not cooperating, and that's where police say you come in. They're hoping that you see King, you recognize his car, and you can help him track down that vehicle and hopefully also Kata Scott. This is 21-year-old Keon King. He's been charged with kidnapping. Police say he was the last person who was in contact with 23-year-old Kata Scott, missing for 11 days now.
Our evidence is pretty clear that she was in communication with an individual. That individual appears to meet her very shortly after she leaves her place of work.
Scott was last seen October 4th, shortly after she arrived at her overnight shift at her job in Chestnut Hill. Police believe at that point she was in contact with King, and the two may have been together in this vehicle, a 1999 metallic gold Toyota Camry. They say they track this car all over the city, and they're asking for your help to find it now.
We need to know where this car is. We need to find this car, making this very clear. It's not to just focus on the northwest section of the city of Philadelphia.
At this point, police say they do not know where Scott is and are still trying to find her. Police say she did report being harassed before she went missing, but investigators would not say if the person harassing her were King or comment on the length or nature of their relationship. But police say this isn't the first time her alleged captor has been charged with this sort of crime. Police say King was charged last January for kidnapping and assault of a female acquaintance. The case was dropped when the victim did not appear in court.
That case had been withdrawn by our office based on the witness failing to appear at court. I pulled that file, and after an extensive review of it, our office made the decision to refile those charges. We believe there is enough to proceed.
That means King is now facing charges for 2 kidnapping cases. And again, police really want the public's help here. Any information on King, they say, will help investigators find out what happened to 23-year-old Kata Scott, still missing despite her alleged captor being in custody. Live here at police headquarters, Becca Hendrickson, Channel 6 Action News. John.
And we do have pictures of that car at 6abc.com. Becca, thank you.
That's wild. That's out of Philadelphia. All right, where are we going? Going to South Florida, it looks like. Let's check this out.
Campaign controversy. Miami Commissioner Joe Carollo faces allegations of abusing his power.
And new video shows what appears to be city workers taking down campaign signs. And tonight, questions are piling up. Local 10's Christina Vasquez live in Miami with what Carollo is saying today. Christina.
And as you know, all of this is unfolding just a few short weeks to Election Day. Take a look.
2 weeks ago, the first set of signs disappeared.
Then Ana Suarez Burgos said this happened just yesterday.
Buenos dias.
A city vehicle approaches, removing campaign signs for her neighbor, Miami mayoral candidate and former city manager Emilio Gonzalez.
I had heard that these things happen. I didn't think it would happen in this day and age.
And then she spots this.
Had the name of District 3 Joe Carollo. Consequently, I was in an uproar because how is that possible?
Did you direct these staffers to go out?
No, I don't get involved in that. We have a district person in charge of that. This district office has taken down thousands of illegal signs.
District 3 Miami City Commissioner Joe Carollo, who is also running for mayor, says city code prevents placing signs on public right-of-ways to include a swale.
Yeah, that's a staffer. And what are they doing wrong? Tell me, what are they doing wrong there?
It isn't city code compliance. It isn't, even the police coming by and issuing a warning. No, it's his staff that's doing it, and that's what's wrong. This is borderline election interference. Another neighbor had video of this encounter.
Posting that video to social media.
Hello. What is your reaction to that video?
Well, my reaction to that, I haven't seen the video, but my reaction is that this is an individual that is very frustrated.
At the very least, if I can't put it on my swell, notify me. Don't come and take the sign off. That's not the right way of doing it.
And those 2 individuals, well, they're just 2 of 13 candidates, all vying to be mayor of Miami. In our 9 p.m. hour each and every night, Local 10 News anchors Calvin Hughes and Nicole Perez, they have been interviewing each one by one. So you'll definitely want to come and tune back in with us at 9 p.m. If you want to see some of the past interviews they've already conducted, you can find them on our website. That's local10.com. And there you can also find a digital exclusive legal analysis about this brewing campaign controversy.
Okay, controversy. All right, next, South Florida again.
Out of a shocking shooting, a woman shot while walking her dog. It all happened in the middle of the afternoon in Lauderdale Lakes.
And Local 10's Magdalena is live right now where this all happened with more on the arrest made today. Magdala,
tell me.
Christy Louie, that afternoon shooting had a lot of people who live here in this complex asking questions, wondering what happened here. And we were the ones to let them know that a woman was shot at while she was walking her dog. And now Broward Sheriff deputies believe they have the person who did it. News that a woman walking her dog was shot at in this Lauderdale Lakes condo complex has left neighbors like Stephen Taylor surprised. You can see deputies surrounding Building 3 posted outside of the breezeway.
It was one of those things that I was like, hopefully everyone's okay. I didn't see any caution tape or anything like that.
Tuesday around 12:15, Broward Sheriff deputies say this man, Robin Moore, shot at the woman after a verbal dispute, then ran away.
That is crazy to know that was a verbal dispute. Like, I don't know what she could have said. That's like to say something and then all of a sudden someone's shooting at you. Just like, what could you have said?
Deputies later found Moore off the 2700 block of Sunrise Boulevard. Taylor says this is a quiet complex. Not too much happens here.
Here, only thing I'm probably having, you might have a few bums that try to linger around, but they don't even steal anything to say like, oh, this is a bad, you know what I mean? It just, you have a few bums here and here, but this is probably like the biggest thing that I could say ever happened.
And more, he has not went before a judge just yet for those charges, and some of his charges include attempted murder, having a firearm as a convicted felon, and he's accused of violating his probation. We are live in Lauderdale Lakes. I'm Magdala Luisan, Local 10 News.
Wow, that's the dude. Huh. What the hell could they have said? She could have said, "Man, don't talk to me. You one ugly ass motherfucking N-word." And he probably was like, "What the fuck? No, fuck you, bitch. Okay, watch this. I'm gonna shoot you and your motherfucking dog." Boom, 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 boom. I don't know. That's just weird. Weird. All right, let's go to the next story. We're bringing it to Boston. Let's go to Boston. Let's see what's going on in Boston.
Police are trying to figure out who these people are. Watch this video because you'll see them with their hands full of clothing running out of a Lululemon store in Boston. WBZ's Samantha Cheney is live on Newbury Street for us tonight. And Samantha, these thieves got away with thousands of dollars worth of clothing.
Yeah, David, that's right. Police, they say those thieves, they got away with actually more than $6,000 worth of merchandise.
Oh,
and
Lord.
Lululemon surveillance cameras, they captured the whole snatch and grab incident on camera. Today, shoppers that I spoke with, they were shocked when I showed them.
Oh my God. Handfuls.
There was a common sense of disbelief seeing this surveillance video today. It shows 3 people running out of Newbury Street's Lululemon on Monday night. Police say their arms were piled with stolen clothes. What do you think about this when you see this video?
Stupid. I think that's a ballsy move.
Yeah.
It makes me feel a little sad. I mean, you see that happen more, I think, in New York and LA.
According to the Boston police, the heist happened not long after 7 p.m. Each of the shoplifters' faces were uncovered, and they ran right past store employees. Are you shocked that they weren't wearing masks or anything like that?
No, I feel like people just think they can get away with whatever they want nowadays. I'm shocked, yeah. I feel like you're just having your face on camera.
Altogether, investigators say $6,140 worth of merchandise was taken from the store. Police say the thieves escaped the area in a dark-colored sedan. Can you say, does that make you feel worried about shopping in the area, or?
No, because they're clearly kids. I mean, you could tell.
And while some say this may have just been a crime of opportunity, the situation leaves other shoppers on edge.
People aren't afraid to get in trouble. Yeah. You know, they'll do whatever they want.
I think it's just disappointing. And then, of course, you wonder why people start locking up their front doors and locking up the medicine and CVS and having guards at the front door, and that's unfortunate.
Now, today we did reach out to Lululemon for a comment on this snatch and grab incident. We haven't heard back from them just yet. But in the meantime, police, they are asking for the public's help now. They say that if you recognize any of those people involved in this incident, you contact them immediately. Live on Newbury Street, I'm Samantha Cheney, WBZ News. All right.
that we should have more Republicans on the show, but they don't want to come on. They're scared of us. It's like Marjorie Taylor Greene says that she finds the Republican men afraid of powerful women. Well, that may be true of all the political persuasions. But if they would come on this show and they can explain to us what they're trying to do to this country.
It's crazy that they are. The View is just crazy people. Jerry Behart is losing her mind. Look, the train of truth is here. I'm telling you, when I say these people are crazy, the train just goes crazy. Train of truth is here, and it's crazy. It's just everything's all crazy. I don't know what's real, what's reality anymore. Like, what is this? Like, Joy is so far left that she's lost her way. You know what I mean? She lost her way. And I feel like, they sold themselves, they sold their souls to the devil, they sold their souls to the Democratic Party. They are their puppets, and they're the ones that are supposed to convince us of their bullshit.
Jumping out of vans and people going through a legal asylum process are being taken away without charges. And the thing that's very upsetting to me right now, and we're giving these internment camps funny names.
You have, of course, far left activists here. It's just boo-hooing that, ICE is doing their job and they're starting to get these illegals out. And they're crying. They're crying like little bitches. And I just don't got time for this bullshit. You know what I mean? This is just what a waste of air, I can't believe we share air with these people. Like, we live in the same planet and we share the same air and the same sunlight and the same places. We share this. And I can't believe we do. What a waste. This is Antifa shit. I know the music is on. They have like a little playing music. I put it on pause, so I don't need to listen to that shit. But ICE, man, keep doing your job. We're standing behind you. Like, bring back like law and order. Bring back like accountability. That's what we need. Bring back accountability. Here it is. Hold on.
Why aren't we shooting back at them? Can anybody explain that to me? I don't own a firearm, but if I saw an ICE agent, it would brick right to their dome. So why are the armed citizens
She's threatening
not
to kill
shooting
an
back
ICE officer? She just recorded herself making a threat.
Good luck with that one.
She just wait a minute. Let's go back.
Why aren't we shooting back at them? Can anybody explain that to me? I don't own a firearm, but if I saw an ICE agent, it would brick right to their dome.
Right.
So why are the armed citizens not shooting back at them?
If you know this girl, and if I know not a lot of people watch my show, but you never know. If you know this lady, you know this person, I highly suggest calling the police and making a report. I'm sure the FBI is already working on this. I'm sure Homeland Security and ICE is working on this to get this person arrested for threatening ICE and inciting others to attack and kill ICE. We just had an incident in Dallas where you had an individual shooting at the ICE facility, ended up killing some illegals, you know, and the ICE agents were fine, but the intent of killing and trying to kill and disrupt. And now you have this chick right here that's you're looking at the screen right now that thinks it's cute to threaten ICE by shooting them in the head like brick to the ground. Like, and she's wondering why other people that have guns are not shooting at ICE. This person belongs in jail. I want to wake up tomorrow and I want to see a report of this person we're looking at right now behind bars. That's fucking crazy. That's crazy. All right, let's go on to more news.
Only one President Trump. Here he is comparing how he looks in a bathing suit compared to Joe Biden.
I'd like to go to the beach. You know, my legs are not quite as thin as his. My legs are slightly heavier. My arms are slightly larger. My body is a little bit larger than his. I'm not sure it would be appreciated on the beach, but I'm not going to take a chance. You won't see me in a bathing suit. Somebody told him that he looked good in a bathing suit.
Speaking of who's in better shape, a certain governor from California is questioning whether the Democratic Party needs to shape up as they face a favorable rating of just 34%.
Do you feel like our party is in better shape or worse shape? Are we finding our voice? Is this shutdown in a perverse sense helpful in terms of just organizing that voice and a clarity of what's at stake?
All right, well, I'm going to turn that question back around on you too. But I mean, the polling would not tell you that our party is in good shape today. I mean, we are historically unpopular.
Newsom also continues to mimic Trump's style. He's now accusing Joe Rogan of having something he calls CDS.
What do you think he's talking about?
I don't know. I barely watched what you
the perception of it, the perception of California, the perception of some of the problems that face the state, and maybe how some of the people around the country might think.
I think there's a California derangement syndrome, and he's part of it. I mean, I think people are obsessed with focusing on what's wrong with the state and not what's right with the state.
But the proof is in the U-Haul. If you look at the numbers, everybody wants to leave. Nobody wants to go.
So, you know that Gavin thought he was on Charlemagne the God? CDS is not CDS if the data is real, like the U-Haul's leaving. The reason why Trump derangement is real is because the data is not. You know, the collusion, authoritarianism, war on democracy, fascism, Nazis. No one's ever said that stuff about California, but it's been said about Trump and his followers. I wonder how people can, I think the grip that TDS has on people is starting to loosen up, especially after the peace stuff. And they're beginning to see how huge and overinflated this demon was. There's no war on democracy. There's no fascism. It's just a guy making peace while also making jokes about not having skinny legs. I think you have with Gavin, you almost have this weird choice between all-inclusive resorts. You know, all-inclusive resorts come with stuff that you love and stuff that you don't. Trump's resort, it may be gaudy and a little unpredictable, but it's walkable. There's lots of stuff to do. And every day you experience something fun and productive. You get what you pay for. But at Newsom Towers, or whatever you call it, the service sucks. You know, no one there works. You're trying to find somebody at the counter. There's nobody there. It's just like you never get what you paid for over in Newsom's resort. So it's a stark choice, really, between facade and substance, reality and fantasy. And I think that's why Democrats have to indulge these delusions, because the reality is too much to bear.
And Harold, the first step to getting better on anything is admitting you have a problem, but they've only gone a half a step, because in the clip they say, yeah, we are historically unpopular, but they won't take the next half a step, which is say, we did it to ourselves.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think when parties have found themselves at this moment, Democrats, this is not the first time a political party finds itself kind of self-loathing and trying to figure out where they go and what the next steps are. But you're right, you have to have answers. We need less kind of apologizing and loathing, and more offering of new things. You think about where we are today. The government is shut down. AI is enabling inefficiencies, but it's going to displace a lot of workers. We need answers to that, how we're going to create new jobs going forward. Our schools are not working. And Katie, you mentioned a point about Democrats should be welcoming people to their communities as we try to fight crime. They should, but we need a crime bill. Greg and I talked about this yesterday. President Trump's been in office. We've yet to end cashless bail. Dangle federal funds out there to these cities and make them in cashless bail in exchange for more money to hire cops and prosecutors and so forth. Democrats, these are the answers we should be providing. The moping and the going on podcasts and saying the same old thing is not resonating with voters, let alone winning voters to our side.
And part of the reason for that, Katie, is that they're often on the wrong side of these issues. Like on 80-20 issues, or as President Trump says, 97-3 issues, they're on the wrong side of it.
And they don't have to be. If it's an 80-20 issue, it's safe to be on the side of the 80, but they're so focused on Trump that they just can't get themselves out of it. And the old saying is you can't beat them, join them. I mean, Trump is beating them on everything, on crime, on deportation, on the government shutdown, which Republicans historically always lose the argument about the government shutdown. Democrats could open the government tomorrow. They could work on a crime bill, but they can't do that because they don't want to fund the government.
So could you?
Republicans already voted for a clean CR, and Democrats refused to in the Senate. So Democrats should vote for that so they can reopen the government. And also, Democrats are focused on the wrong guy. Trump is not running for re-election. He is done in 2028, and yet Democrats continue to go after him. Presidential hopefuls like Gavin Newsom can't get over the fact that he just needs to come up with his own ideas, can't just copy Trump for everything that he does. And they're just not authentic. They're not putting out anything original. And for Gavin Newsom to sit there and scoff at someone like Joe Rogan, who the left is desperately trying to find their own Joe Rogan. They had one. He not only left the Democratic Party, he also left California, along with a lot of his rich friends. And there are still people leaving California. Right. So they've got to come up with different ideas that are helpful to their constituents rather than constantly fighting someone who isn't even running for re-election.
And I want California to be great. I lived in San Diego for 3 years. I'd love to go and visit and enjoy. But Jesse is your name. Many large companies have decided to leave, and they're specifically saying it's because of some of Gavin's policies. Tesla, Chevron, Oracle, Charles Schwab. And Chevron was actually very explicit in saying it was Governor Newsom's policies that took them out.
Yeah, but he's still a threat. He'll probably get the nom, and he'll lie his way to the top. He's rich, he's tall, and he has a nice-looking family, and lies very effectively.
Sounds like someone else I know.
Me? But he's always coming across as a little less crazy than the rest of the Democrats, and that's where his threat is. Dana, have you ever been dumped?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I haven't, so tell me if I'm wrong.
Damn.
Dumped. Do you sit alone in a room and wallow?
I did.
And for a year, say what went wrong?
I did for 2 weeks, and then Andrea Aragon, my college roommate, said, get up, and we went country music dancing every Saturday night for the rest of the year.
Jesse, get this. We now are just such good friends to this day.
Country music dancing, nice.
I'll never forget it. Oh, I got dumped big time.
So they didn't wait. They waited, what, 11 months, and they're still not getting out there. There's millions of voters out there. Go out, make your pitch. Do what Harold says, except the crime bill. We're not going to give you guys more money so you can steal it. But do something different. Don't just sit alone in a room and Zoom. It's so stupid. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.
We got a couple of more to go. Let's check this one out here. Let me resize this. Give me 1 sec. I got a couple of them here to resize. Probably gonna hold off until I get the Tyson De La Cruz upload. Should be happening. Should be happening soon. By 10:15, I believe. But I got more story. Oh, got a couple of stories here that I want to take a look at. I'm gonna open up another one here. I want to see this interview of the 12-year-old. Remember the 12-year-old from New Britain, Connecticut. Okay, so let me set this up. first we're gonna go to the interview of the 12-year-old. I want to get the 12-year-old because there's a family member that's speaking out of family of the girl that passed away, and I don't know how related or who they're related, like what's the relations, but there's some kind of relations. What the hell is this? We're gonna have to check this story out too. Oh, okay. We got add-ons. We definitely got add-ons. And trust me, it seems like they're pretty good add-ons. So don't hate me for adding on. Well, we're gonna end the show with Tyson, so I'm waiting for that video to come up. Okay, and this one needs to be resized. I think this one we're gonna watch. Let me see. Let's go to this one first. Actually, okay, give me 1 sec to figure this out. Okay, I could close that one out. Which is this one? Okay, we can watch this one. Let's watch this one before I get to the gruesome stuff that's been happening. Which is I'm so disappointed in the world. It's crazy. But I'm gonna go here. Okay. All right, I got a good little setup here. All right, so let's watch here from the Pentagon. Oh, from the White House and to the Pentagon.
In the DMV area. Take a look. This is video of dozens of reporters turning in access badges. They exited the Pentagon today, choosing not to agree to new government-imposed restrictions.
Hey, Seven.
The federal
Taking a
government
break
is
from
calling the new
working.
rules, quote,
On
common sense
some
to help
cowboy
regulate a, quote,
movie.
very
Yay.
disruptive press. Here's a look.
I want to see the progress.
Post from Tara Kopp. She's a Pentagon correspondent with the Washington Post. She says, today, the Pentagon press corps handed over our badges and walked out in unison in defense of the First Amendment. It's an unprecedented attack on the public's right to know and the end of one of the most professional press relationships in D.C. We have Tara here standing by with me. Tara, help the audience understand what kind of access the press has had in the Pentagon up until today.
Sure, and thank you for the opportunity to clarify and clean up a couple of misrepresentations that the Pentagon has made recently. We are all credentialed press. We've been there for decades. We go to war with these troops. All of us have been all over the world with these service members. To even have a badge in the Pentagon, we all undergo just a very basic background check. It does not allow us any access to classified spaces. We have no more access to the building than, say, the people that work at the CVS or some of the food outlets that serve everybody who work in the Pentagon. And at its height, there's more than 26,000 people that go in and out of that building every single day. The benefit to the public for having us in the building on key days, on days like when we have struck Iran with our B-2 stealth bombers, or when 13 service members were killed in Afghanistan, we're in the hallways because we can be there to talk to people, to get a sense of things, to understand what the ground truth is, and not just get the one official narrative from an email or from a video posted to X or from a tweet. And that's an invaluable service to the public. Our ability to talk to multiple people, to build those relationships, to be in the hallways, to really get a sense for where we think the military is headed and what they're thinking is a great responsibility and one we take very seriously.
This is the statement today from the Pentagon Press Association. They say today, the Defense Department confiscated the badges of the Pentagon reporters from virtually every major media organization in America. It did this because reporters would not sign on to a new media policy over its implicit threat of criminalizing national security reporting and exposing those who sign it to potential prosecution. The Pentagon Press Association's members are still committed to reporting on the U.S. military, but make no mistake, today, October 15th, 2025, is a dark day for press freedom that raises concerns about a weakening U.S. commitment to transparency in government.
Yeah, but that's the journalists. They don't want to agree with the new terms.
You mentioned this briefly, but I would love if you could expand on how being physically in the Pentagon helps to supplement your reporting.
So absolutely. And Pentagon reporters have been in the building since Eisenhower. There are secretaries of defense that I've covered in more than the last decade that I've been in the building where they didn't like what I wrote, or they didn't like what my colleagues wrote, or they didn't like what they saw on TV. And it's not just a Republican administration or a Democratic administration. This crosses the whole spectrum. The colleagues who joined us today as we walked out included members of the conservative outlets and outlets that would be considered left-leaning, because everybody knows that you need all voices and you need all eyes on to provide transparency to the American public. So this isn't about, protecting information or protecting classified information or any of some of the falsehoods that have come out that somehow we have been soliciting classified information. We have not. This is about making sure that there are enough eyes and voices out there to make sure there's not just the official narrative that the American public receives.
So right now, the folks are seeing on our screen some video that you took earlier today. This is as you and the press corps were walking out of the Pentagon. How did it feel?
Now you can hear my voice. I mean, these are people that I have worked alongside in outlets across, it's all the TV networks. It's the small trade publications that look maybe just at the Navy or look just at the Air Force.
They don't trust the media anyways.
That
Bye.
For the Middle East or report for Asia.
They got your backs.
It's just,
someone kicks it from the Pentagon.
Because everyone gets
that
into
would
the
be
building,
so funny.
You know the press officers, you see them every single day, and
Kick it like a
every
football.
single one of those people
Fuck
has
that
a
shit.
great story on something they've spent in. Whether it's talking new fights or an attack in the Middle East, or it's talking about where our carriers are sailing. Everybody has kind of their need they have become experts in, and having all of those different voices and all of those different eyes on the building is really important.
How many outlets agreed to the new rules? And if you could expand on this as well, what exactly did they agree to?
Sure. So initially, the document that we've signed for years is a single page, and it's literally just kind of the rules of the road. Here's your badge. Your badge is a government ID. It doesn't belong to you. You need to take care of it. If you lose it, you need to report it, because of course you don't want that badge to fall into the wrong hands. And we took that seriously as well. There was nothing about, you can't talk to this person, or you can only report what has been approved. It's simply about the common sense, here's how you operate in the building, and even had something like, if you see something suspicious, say something, because we're all working in there together, and our safety is all, kind of a joint effort in that way. The document that this administration decided they needed was 21 pages long. It has just pages and pages of rules and regulations talking about we can only report on what is authorized or what has been approved, or that we understand that if we, kind of go past that and report on what has not been authorized or approved, we could be considered a security risk. We could lose our badge or be subject to investigations or worse. So this is all about silencing anything anything that's not the official narrative.
So what is the Pentagon saying is the operational or security justifications for wanting tighter control over what journalists can report?
Oh, that cowboy movie's coming out good.
Facilities. What's their justification?
I want to be a test screener.
Most of their justification has been in tweets. It has
I want to
been,
watch and give my
kind of
feedback.
spreading this narrative that we somehow solicit classified information by walking the halls, which we don't.
I wouldn't
Try
mind doing
to
that.
say that this is about protecting sensitive areas and protecting information, and that we don't have a right to walk the halls. I mean, the sheer number of different contractors and people that work at the subway, or people that work at the Panera, or people that work at the CVS or the hair salon or the cupcake shop, the Pentagon is a massive administrative building. There are, yes, interior offices that are secured. They're SCIFs. You cannot get in there. They are locked. So I'm not quite sure what they thought was such a threat. And there have been many administrations that have come before them who have been unhappy with the stories that have come out or their coverage, but none of them thought that they just couldn't handle it, and the only response was to kick us out of the building.
This is what Secretary Hegseth put on social media. Pentagon access is a privilege, not a right. So here is the Department of War's press credentialing for dummies, he says. Press no longer roams free. Press must wear visible badge. Credentialed press no longer permitted to solicit criminal acts. Done. Pentagon now has the same rules as every U.S. military installation. Is it clear to us what practical impact the new rules will have? News organizations like the Washington Post are vowing to continue robust coverage of the military no matter the vantage point. Does it feel like this will have a tangible impact on what the public does and doesn't know?
It's absolutely going to make it more difficult. Part of being able to get information, to get a straight story, is built on building trust with sources and showing that you're a trustworthy person, and for them to show you that they are credible, and vice versa. And having, at 10 years in my most recent stint in the Pentagon, I was still one of the more junior reporters in the Pentagon. There are reporters who have been in the building for 2 decades, for 3 decades. My colleague Tom Bowman at NPR, I think he got his first badge 28 years ago. So that is generations of young lieutenants who then become captains and majors and then colonels and generals. And when you know them that long, when they're assigned to the Pentagon and then they go out in the field, or you end up going into a conflict zone with them and they come back, you can't replicate that. And so that's, that is going to be one of the toughest losses, is the ability to introduce ourselves to the next generation of people who will come through the Pentagon. And we're just going to have to adjust. We'll have to be out in the field more. All of us, in this new world, definitely use Signal more. We're definitely on our phones more. And the people who talk to us are, especially with the threat of polygraphs and other things, have been more nervous to talk to us. But it just means we keep doing our job and we adapt.
Are you guys going to be invited to Pentagon press briefings?
It's yet to be seen.
All right. Tara Kopp joining us today. She's the Pentagon correspondent with the Washington Post. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, girl. Hold on.
Trudy, on another matter, Pentagon?
It's the Pentagon shit. I'm not watching that shit again. We're gonna go to this lovely lady. What do you have for me? Let's see.
The Australian Signal Directorate's annual report has revealed that suspected cyber attacks have more than doubled in the past year. Businesses are being warned that they have about 5 years to overhaul their cyber defences, because AI will turbocharge these threats. Joining me is IBM Australia and New Zealand Managing Director Nicholas Flood. Nicholas, thanks so much for your time. So how concerned are you about this turbocharging of cyber threats?
Great to be with you, Laura. There's 2 areas of concern that the IBM team and I have. Firstly, let's talk about AI. I'd also like to talk about quantum in a minute. So it's unquestionable that AI is helping cyber criminals craft more convincing scams, whether that's impersonation attempts, phishing emails, or indeed social engineered cyber attacks and threats. Let's just take a specific example. There's many generative AI capabilities that are open source, free to use today, where with just a small number of minutes of an audio file of someone speaking, a cyber criminal can compose a very credible impersonation of a loved one, a senior business leader, they can then use that generative AI capability to mount a cyber attack where people believe that they're talking to someone of influence, a loved one, someone that they care for, who may have a legitimate need to be requesting a transfer of money, for example. Generative AI has lowered the bar, Laura, so that the more sophisticated attacks can now be perpetrated by a greater number of cyber criminals. So definitely a huge area of concern in regard to the emergence of generative AI capabilities and those that want to use those tools for nefarious purposes.
And is that separate from quantum?
It absolutely is, but it also goes hand in hand. One of the things that's really creating a lot of discussion among the global cybersecurity analyst community is a day that they call Q Day, Laura. So Q Day is the day when a quantum computing capability will emerge that can crack the widely used cryptography methods that are really securing all of the world's secrets, whether that's hospital records, police and incarceration records, your bank balances, your location history on your phones. All of that data today is being secured by modern cryptography standards and approaches. Unfortunately, the power of quantum computing is very, very profound when it comes to current models of cryptography. So when Q Day arrives, which some pundits believe could be a 30% chance of arriving between now and 2035, that will render the world's secrets open for all eyes to see. So that's definitely another item that we're tracking closely here at IBM, looking to prepare Australian enterprises so that they can be quantum safe.
It's really interesting to see where the line of responsibility is, whether it's a company or the individual. Do you have a view on that?
I think it's multifaceted. So if I touch on the first set of examples I shared, Laura, the individual is the first line of defence. And in all of ASD's recommendations, including their most recent report, they speak to the urgent need for us to increase cyber literacy. That's mums and dads. It's elderly and it's young people alike, and it is absolutely also enterprises. Everyone needs to be equipped with a greater set of skills so that they can understand what is an impersonation, what is a legitimate request for a money transfer. What I'm also enthused about, Laura, though, is that it's not all bleak. For example, last night I was sitting next to a very senior leader of one of Australia's big four banks, and they were talking about how they're using generative AI to protect their customers. Let me expand a little bit further. So customers of banks often get scam calls. This bank have developed thousands of generative AI chat agents so that when the scammer calls the customer, that call is intercepted and it's a generative AI chat agent on the other end of the phone who's talking to the scammer. Something that was told for me, Laura, was to ask the gentleman that I was speaking to, what's the maximum duration that a scammer was talking to one of these chat agents, thinking that they were talking to a real person, and it was 57 minutes. I think that gives you a sense for how convincing some of these counter defenses can be.
And they're relentless, they are. Terrifying, yet a little bit hopeful in our chat today, Nicholas. I appreciate it.
Indeed, absolutely.
All right, nice chat there. Let's keep it moving. Let's see what we got here. What's this about? Torrington. Let's see what happened in Torrington, Connecticut.
Police and fire officials are still investigating inside a Torrington home. They've been there for 8 hours trying to figure out how a fire started there this morning, which killed a woman.
Your reporter Dylan Fearon is live on Marvin Street with the latest from officials and neighbors tonight. Dylan.
Aaron, Stephanie, investigators just left, police still on scene, but we're getting a much closer look at the house right now. The victim has been identified as 52-year-old Michelle Cullen, and neighbors in this Torrington neighborhood say they heard an explosion at 8:15 this morning. Steve is working in the neighborhood.
It's going to be
company and one of the many
that's going to be crazy in the
Michelle's
future.
Family. Think of her, pray for her. Neighbors were worried as soon as they heard the explosion this morning and saw Michelle's house on fire. Now investigators are trying to piece this all together.
So when I was supposed to come out here earlier this morning, they said hold off because there was hoses and fire trucks and something big going on.
Police kept the press and the public back today. The fire marshal on scene too, as this neighborhood is wondering how this could have happened. Neighbors tell us Michelle was extremely kind.
It's extremely unfortunate for almost any death in life, no matter what it might be. So if you have a sense of humanity, everything is unfortunate. You know, it's unfortunate that we have to even talk about what's going on.
Now, the American Red Cross was here briefly helping Michelle's family. The Red Cross told us there were 2 cats inside the house during the fire. Aaron and Stephanie, one ran away, but the second cat, unfortunately, died. I'm your reporter live in Torrington tonight. Dylan Fear in Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Oh, that's sad. Pretty sad. What's this about? Kidnapping? What this kidnapping's about? What the hell? An illegal migrant tried to snatch a teenage girl off the street. Damn, he's still chasing this person. Look. Look. What the hell? What the hell? Oh, the bus. That's crazy. You saw that? Yeah, that's what he looks like. Look at this. This is over in UK. This is crazy. This is in UK. Not the United States. This just don't always happen here. This happens over in UK. So be careful, ladies in UK. Like, if you're walking alone, make sure you have some kind of mace or some kind of defense. Make sure you always have a whistle with your keys. I have a whistle in my keys. It's kind of like a really loud, fucking annoying whistle that if someone comes and tries to do something towards me, I blow that whistle so hard that it would make them deaf. Like, no joke. Don't make me test it here. I'll wake up the building. But this is what the guy looks like. Like, that's what the clown looks like. Not good. And the way he went after her, look. Like, you see this? Like, are you crazy? To 7 months in prison. That's all he got? Look at this shit. What is going on here? Wow, that was crazy. I'm sorry. That was fucking nuts. They just bring it back to me. What is going on in this world? What's wrong with you, world? What's wrong with the people? My goodness. Creepy. Yeah, creepy. All right, let's check out who is this? Is this Melody King? Let me make sure it's Melody King. Melody King! Yes! I love this one. You're not subscribed to her? Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you turn on the bell to all so you can get all her videos. And let me resize this. Let me go ahead and choose this one. Make it nice and big. And got some news out of this war thing. We could move this over to back here because I'm not going to deal with this right now. We'll do this a little bit towards the end. Okay, sorry, I'm just setting this up. Okay, so I got the Melody King. So let's go ahead and watch Melody King. I think I want to see her big. So let's go ahead and set it up like this.
Democrat Mayor Brandon Johnson signed an executive order. Yes, he did. For his city to become ice-free zone. Think it's going to happen. They are federal agents, you dope. They're still going to go in there and do the job, you idiots. Brandon Johnson, don't nobody trust you anyway because you ain't got no balls. Why? Because you ain't got enough balls to tell your barber that he sucks. Any black man walk around here with a hairline, you make poor decisions. Another weak ass behind the podium. You would rather have your city be caught in the flames than ICE agents come and help citizens of that city, you weak.
Okay, so we are here outside of Chicago, northwest suburbs. We're gonna try to apprehend Mayo from Laos. He has a final order of removal with extended criminal history. His convictions include statutory burglary, robbery, abduction, and also use of firearm.
The media won't show you this. ICE agents outside Chicago taking down a convicted felon, all while activists scream brutality. Now, here's the part that they won't tell you. That victim, well, had priors for robbery, abduction, and using a firearm. Law enforcement did their job, and the mob called it oppression.
Let's get him out. Let's get him out. Let's see your ID. Okay. Unlock your door, sir.
See if she could
get her pencil.
Hey, so we've got an order of deportation.
Yes, he has been. A violent offender already ordered to get out of the country. Simple legal routine. Then came the chaos. Phones out, fake tears, police abuse. That's what they said. This wasn't some mom late on paperwork. It was a repeat criminal with a gun history.
No, we just talked to the people. So here's the deal. Look, you're at the station. You got it for you to call, you do whatever you need to do. But for now, do you mind just parking the car? Okay.
Agents show up calm. Unlock the door, sir. No shouting, no violence, right? But then comes the filming, the fake panic. They're aiming the gun. There's a baby. Yeah. And ICE protected that baby while arresting a violent felon. Now, by nightfall, social media flipped it into ICE traumatizes a family. That's how fast lies go viral.
Damn. This is a great video. I like this. Bad boys, bad boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? I'm gonna come for you. And we throw a little ice, baby. Yo, ice, baby. Ice, get him. Gotta get him. Like, that's crazy. I really don't need the music on here, but damn, look at that. Like, that's crazy. And you have antagonizers. It's just that violin. It's just driving me crazy. I need my own violin. Like they know they're arresting the criminals.
Every time ICE arrests a criminal, these activists cry racism. They crop the clip, strip the context, sell outrage. They never mention the rap sheet or the victims. No, they just crop, cry, and cash in. And the same politicians who rely on ICE for safety, well, they throw them under the bus for clout.
Ripping families apart. It's not the first time this country has done this. And this is
how many microphones he has in front of him? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Because I come from a lineage
5.
Which this country ripped black mothers and black fathers
Listen to this
away
guy.
from black children to build this capitalistic society.
That's crazy.
They're doing it again.
They're doing it
Before, this is
again.
not hyperbolic.
Arresting criminals. They're doing it
Who
again.
still believe that the Civil
These people
War
are
went
bought.
the wrong way.
He is bought.
And I just want
where the money is coming from. Which cartel?
Country
Cartel, because yeah, you're really
done
good.
these type of acts before, and that there are people who
I don't
understand
trust
that.
this dude at all.
And because
Especially
we
when they
understand
point
that it's
with their
our
fingers
way to
like
stand
that.
so boldly and so
When
firmly
they
in
point with double
opposition to what
fingers
this
like
government
that,
is doing.
that's when you
Rip
know,
families apart. While
especially when they have to
navigating
point.
their
See,
responsibility to actually
the
fix
pointing.
our broken immigration system.
This
The
is a
right
very
wing in this
untrustworthy
country
guy.
wants a rematch of the Civil War.
You
I
want
want
the
that to
rematch
sit
of the
in right now
Civil
because
War.
the President of the United
And
States
look
of
at the lady in the
America
back
has
cheering,
declared
yes.
war on the people of Chicago and people across America.
The reality is that ICE is not hunting families down. They're hunting fugitives. They enforce court orders against people who broke the law and now refuse to leave. But the loudest voices, well, they defend the criminal, not the community. They never defend the community. And then they wonder why cities are falling apart. You can't have safety when enforcing the law is somehow treated like hate.
Damn, that's crazy. Look at that vehicle. Man, look at all the people that show up out of nowhere. Where the fuck these people show up from? Like, how do they get in touch with each other that quick? There's an app that they're using that they're assimilating quick. Because how could they be out like that quick and flood the area that quick with that many people? You know what I mean? So for me, I'm like, when you smell shit, it's shit. And these people, this is not good. Not good. I wonder what app they're using to alert them. Maybe Facebook? It has to be something because that's a lot of people. Look, and they have flags and they're demonstrating. Look, they're all different type of people. And then now they're running away. Like, I don't get this. What's going on? I bet you a lot of these people need to be deported too. You know? Send them to Iraq. You know? They got a lot of aggression, right? So they could go fight a war. And then maybe they'll be appreciative of America. People are crazy, man.
But of course, facts don't trend, just outrage does.
Oh! Kick it back, kick it back. There you go. Yeah.
See, that guy should be arrested for enticing.
Oh! That's a up move. That's a coward move. That's a move. Oh, that's a move.
Oh, they're aiming the gun.
Yeah, yeah, he is.
Aiming a gun.
Yeah, that's up. That's a move.
Who's aiming a gun?
You guys are really. You guys. That's great. Got a little baby that let it took out the baby. Yeah, get it out of there. OC, gas. That's bogus. The baby was right there, man. That's a little baby, dog. The baby's like 5 months old, dude. They would try to put the baby in the crib, and the guy grabs the and throws it right at her. Like, are you look at this, dude. What? Like, that, we can do all of this, but once you start to do like that as a little, you know, come on.
So they're there to be what? They analyze it? We got broadcasters here? I don't know what he's talking. He should be closer to over there than where he's at.
On the floor. Goes like this.
Nah, don't take my gun. Hey man, land on by. Who? The one that picked it up and threw it back. Ain't that salsa? Nah, that ain't. A little like him. They didn't take it on so long time. Here goes Blake. Let him go. Hey, wait, you want to take another person? Yeah, they did take another person.
Gas for what?
For what? Gas for what? Gas for what? Gas for what? Gas for what though? Gas for what? Gas for what?
Listen.
Gas for what?
Look, come here, check it out. You came to us. Why would we throw? Listen. Why would you throw gas? There's nothing going on,
right? No one's doing to you. No one's doing to you. Over there. Gas it over there. Gas it over there then.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, no one's doing over here.
Oh, what a headache.
You control. You got control.
What a headache.
You got control. Relax.
Yeah, you're good. You don't got to gas nobody.
They should
But
not
because
even
it's
be there.
ICE, it's suddenly oppression. These same mayors who bash ICE on camera, well, they end up calling the DHS begging for help when their sanctuary cities crumble. Is that leadership to you? To me, it's hypocrisy.
Democrat Mayor Brandon fucking Johnson signed an executive order. Yes, he did. For his city to become ICE-free zone, which means ICE agents can't come in there and use parks, can't go to the schools, can't use the bathrooms, can't go to municipal buildings, can't go to restaurants, can't walk on the grass. We don't want you sitting here next to us at Golden Corral. You little bitches. What the fuck you think is going to happen? They are federal agents, you dope. They're still going to go in there and do their fucking job, you idiots. Brandon Johnson, don't nobody trust you anyway because you ain't got no balls, nigga. You know why? Because you ain't got enough balls to tell your barber that he sucks.
Damn.
Any black man walk around here with a fucked up hairline, you know he makes poor decisions. Another motherfucking weak ass nigga behind the podium. You would rather have your city be caught in the fucking flames than ICE agents come and help the fucking citizens of that city, you weak ass bitch.
Activists, well, they turned it into another outrage circus because outrage is what pays.
She's not
You want to
wrong.
really fix crime? Then stand with law enforcement, not the lawbreakers.
It is time to recognize that while you thought the enemy was the immigrant, or you thought the enemy was the trans person, or you thought that the enemy was the black folk, it is not any of those people on the list. It is the old white Nepo baby that is sitting in the White House.
Chicago's taking up arms. Over the weekend, this windy city looked
Jasmine
like
Crockett
Fort
is
Sumter.
an idiot.
Let's go! Get out of the road now!
Jasmine Crockett wished to be a tenth of what Trump is doing. What laws has he passed? What crimes has he passed? Nothing. Here, look.
Thugs in bandanas threw rocks and bottles at ICE agents on patrol. Chicago police, nowhere to be found.
Next time you see a viral ICE brutality clip, you need to ask who edited this and why. Because every lie that tears down law enforcement, it builds up criminals. The criminals that they're protecting us from. America survives on law and order. And right now, ICE is the only one holding the line.
Damn, man, that's fucking badass. She's so pretty and she's so badass. I'm telling you, Melody King, subscribe to her channel. She's a good one. Trust me. I got good senses on people. All right, let's see what's next. Oh, should we go to the? Oh, we're gonna go to the sad stuff. Oh Lord. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see if Tyson came out with any video yet. He should have by now. I didn't get any notification on my phone, so I'm not sure if it came out yet. Yeah, it did come out 12 minutes ago. Okay, so we got the video to end the night, because I wasn't going to end the night without showing his video. So let me set it up. Have it ready. Have it nice and ready for tonight's show. Just gotta make it big so I can already have it set up. There you go. I'll finish that one. Let's see, where do we go next? Where do we go? Before we go to the sad. And then we'll go to Tyson. Let's see this one. Okay. All right. Let's check out this story. If I can put the volume up.
Stop their deranged behavior. This time turning their attention to rival Palestinian groups and staging disturbing mass public executions.
That's crazy.
Let me give you an early warning. I'm about to show you something terrible. It's vision of the cruel and bloodthirsty murders still happening in Gaza, even though the ceasefire is in place and the war, we hope, is over. You see, Hamas are now back in control of the central areas vacated by the Israeli Defense Forces under the ceasefire. And Hamas, as is their way, as has always been their way, have been executing their rivals or anyone who dares to oppose them. And while we won't show you the actual executions, this is distressing vision.
Yeah. I saw the aftermath of this. I put it on the link yesterday's show. It was disturbing.
Yeah, how about the crowds gathering to watch? That was Gaza yesterday. This is terrible.
But now that the US is involved in maintaining peace in the region, they are not standing for such barbaric violence. According to the New York Post, the US military's top commander in the Middle East, Admiral Brad Cooper, called on the killings to stop as Hamas tries to regain control of the Gaza Strip following the exit of the IDF. Cooper said in a statement, "We strongly urge Hamas to immediately suspend violence and shooting at innocent Palestinian civilians in Gaza, in both Hamas-held parts of Gaza and those secured by the IDF behind the Yellow Line." The advice comes after President Trump demanded that Hamas disarm in Phase 2 of the peace agreement.
We have told them we want to disarm, and they will disarm. And if they don't disarm, we will disarm them. And it'll happen quickly and perhaps violently. But they will disarm. Do you understand me?
Yes, you say
because you
quickly.
always, everyone says, oh, well, they won't disarm. They will disarm. And I spoke to Hamas, and I said, you're going to disarm, right? Yes, sir, we're going to disarm. That's what they told me. they will disarm or we will disarm them. Got it? Okay.
What is
next.
the deadline you're going to put on that? You say quickly, sir. Sir, you said quickly, but what is the deadline you're going to put on that before you take
period
action?
of time. Pretty quickly.
Mr.
A
President.
reasonable period of time.
Congratulations.
Sky News host Chris Kenny says these violent outbursts show why it is imperative that Hamas be destroyed.
The latest killings also show why it's imperative that the remnants of Hamas are disarmed as soon as possible, as they are supposed to do under stage 2 of the peace plan, a point underlined today by the US president.
Sky News contributor Greg Sheridan says Hamas is not capable of peace and will never stop their terror regime.
Very disturbing footage. I have to tell you, I've all the way along been pretty pessimistic that this deal will ever be implemented. The first phase will be implemented, the ceasefire. President Trump the other day said he thought Hamas was committed to a long-term peace. I wrote, there's absolutely no evidence for that proposition, absolutely no evidence. And as soon as Israel vacated one bit of Gaza, Hamas was out in the street, not assisting its people, getting them food, nor even carrying on the battle against the Israeli army, but executing Palestinians who had been opposed to Hamas. And that's the way Hamas has ruled in Gaza ever since it took power. It executes people for being gay, it executes anyone who opposes it. Now, there's no sign in this that Hamas is even going to give us a sort of a respectable interval, a decent interval. I mean, I think the optimistic hope was never really that we're going to get peace in Gaza or anywhere else, but that Hamas might just go quiet for a couple of months and let everything settle down and let some kind of Palestinian administration come into office while becoming a Hezbollah-like private militia, which would, cause trouble again down the track.
He also added that Trump's threat to violently disarm Hamas is empty.
Now, they may be overplaying their hands here. When Trump says if they don't disarm, we'll disarm them, he is surely bluffing. There's not the slightest chance American troops will be sent into Gaza on a search and destroy mission to root out Hamas. I suppose he could encourage the Israelis to go back in again. But what happens then? I mean, we're just back into the terrible mess.
And Sky News contributor Army Horowitz agrees, saying disarmament is not achievable.
When it comes to Hamas and disarming them, I kind of feel like he's walking into the same trap that Netanyahu did when Netanyahu laid out as one of the goals was the elimination of Hamas. Well, the problem is it's not really an achievable goal. That's the problem, okay? And when you lay out one of your strategies, one of your goals, as doing that, you're setting yourself for failure, which is what he did on the Hamas front. Hamas is still there. They haven't gone anywhere. Sure, they've killed leadership. Hamas is not just a terrorist organization, which it is, and the head of the government in Gaza, which it is. It's also an ideology. You can't disarm an ideology. And while they've made incredible inroads in killing people in Gaza who are Hamas, the problem is Hamas is much wider than Gaza. So when I was recently in the West Bank and I was talking to people in the West Bank, there wasn't a single person I came across who's under 40 who doesn't support Hamas, okay? Hamas has incredible traction in the West Bank as well. And there's a reason why there has not been an election in the West Bank for over 20 years, because they know the Greens, Hamas, would win that election going away. So disarming the entire terrorist organization like that is a difficult goal. I'm not sure it's frankly achievable. But if anybody could do it, I mean, I'm not gonna bet against President Trump.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet against Trump, but that's kind of there's only way you're gonna clear that out, that place. Either you bomb the shit out of it, you destroy everything, or you send in the military and they go door to door and vet everybody, check everybody's homes, make sure they don't have any hidden tunnels or any weapons. And they can take away all the weapons from everyone. Everyone, they're not going to have weapons. Not allowed to have weapons. That's the way this is going to have to work because, these Talibans and these Hamas, I mean, you see them in their uniforms and you can't tell who they are, right? Because they're really covered up. when they leave and they change out of their clothes and so forth, I mean, someone should know what these people look like. We need people taking pictures of these people, and not only that, but like, there's a lot of them, and they blend in. They'll blend in with the public and be like, "No, I'm not no soldier, none of that stuff. I'm not no Hamas or nothing." Of course, they're gonna lie. They're gonna lie so that way they don't get in trouble. They'll get vetted. They'll take away their weapons and this and that, and then they're still Hamas. Hamas will still be there, But it's like a lot of their weaponry they buried. Okay, a lot of the good weaponry, so a lot of good stuff, it's underground. So that's what it is. That's what I see. All right, so let's continue. Let's see what we got. So we definitely have Tyson's wrapping the show. Okay, so let's go ahead and watch this one. Let's get it ready. All right, let's watch.
We are following breaking news this evening on News 12 The Bronx. Thanks for being with us. I'm Amanda Bossard. A series of violent attacks across the borough. And tonight, police say they have the man responsible in custody. The victims range from a teenager to a healthcare worker, now left bloodied and hospitalized. And we have team coverage of these disturbing cases tonight and what led investigators to their guy. And we do have to warn you that some of the video of these attacks is hard to watch. We begin with News 12's Marissa Santorelli, who spoke exclusively with the mother of that nurse who was beaten while on her way to work. She joins us now in Morris Heights with an exclusive conversation with that nurse's mother, as well as a closer look at that disturbing video, Marissa.
Yeah, Amanda, police tell us they arrested 23-year-old Jeremiah White for allegedly attacking Virginia Alvarez this morning at 5:30. Now, right before that arrest was made, I spoke exclusively with her mother. She walked me through the terrifying moments. Her daughter was brutally beaten. Now, I just want to warn our viewers at home, the footage you're about to see may be difficult to watch.
A nurse's aide at Bronx Care Health, now the patient.
It's the man that was calling me, and he told me your daughter got jumped. I said, what?
Early this morning, Virginia Alvarez was on her usual route to work when White approached her at this intersection of University Avenue and West 176th Street. She says he yelled at her, saying the words, "You hurt my mother," before he attacked.
Oh, he kept punching me, punching me, punching me, punching me, punching me. And he wouldn't stop.
Then a good Samaritan stepped in. She says that's when her attacker took off.
She got to the floor. I was screaming for help. Thank God somebody heard the man came out and helped my daughter out.
But the damage was already done. In video taken by her mother at her hospital bedside, you can see her face bloodied, her hand broken, her neck stabilized with a brace.
It's terrible what happened. She was getting ready to go to work.
Virginia's mother says her daughter is in constant pain, but she's just happy she's alive.
If that man would have come out, my daughter would have been dead today. But I pray to the Lord that we're going to get him. Oh, yeah, we're going to get him. He don't know who he messed with. We don't know.
And that they did. Jeremiah White is being charged with assault. Now, Amanda, I just got off the phone with Virginia's mother for the news. Now, she says her daughter has a long road to recovery ahead, but she is just happy justice is being served. Here in Morris Heights, Marissa Santorelli.
It'll be out tomorrow.
A little bit of good news in an otherwise really horrendous situation. Marissa, thank you. Now, police also connected that same suspect to an attack on a teenager in Crotona Park East.
What?
News 12's Lindsay Tanney joins us from the
Another attack he did?
That man is currently being held. Lindsay.
Oh my God.
That's right.
Police arrested 23-year-old Jeremiah White just before 10:30 this morning. Now he's being held at the 42nd precinct right behind me. This arrest made in connection to an assault of a 15-year-old girl. Police say around 7:30 this morning, they found a teenager with a head injury on Lewis 9 Boulevard. She was conscious and alert and was taken to Jacoby Hospital. Luckily, she is expected to be okay. Meanwhile, cops covered the scene looking for clues while residents reacted to the chaos on what they say is otherwise a quiet street. Take a listen.
Wow, that's terrible. That's really bad. I can't imagine why
You know,
somebody
after
would
you.
do something like that unless they had a problem and they were disturbed.
Again, that suspect is 23-year-old Jeremiah White. He's charged with second-degree assault causing serious physical injury. That's a felony, and if convicted, he faces up to 7 years in prison. Stick with us here on 12 as we learn more about this investigation.
That's crazy. Let's keep it moving.
What she did was totally unacceptable, inhumane, disgusting.
Exclusive tonight, we're hearing from a family member of Jacqueline Torres, the girl whose remains were found in New Britain last week. Her own mother arrested for her murder. Good evening, and thanks for joining us tonight for Eyewitness News at 6. I'm Erin Connolly.
Hi, everybody. I'm Stephanie Simone. The heartbreaking developments in this case continue. Yaxie Garcia, the aunt to both Jacqueline and her mother, is now sharing intimate details about the family.
And your reporter Owen Kingsley sat down exclusively with her. He is joining us now live in New Britain. Owen.
A week since this memorial right behind me outside of the New Britain home where Jacqueline Torres' remains were found when this memorial began, now overflowing with balloons and trinkets from her father and mother.
It's going to be hard to sell that house.
What police revealed to us is that she was starved and abused.
Right.
What goes through your heart as a family member?
Disgusted. Disgusted. I'm thinking, what was this little girl thinking? Her last moments, how fearful she was.
In 1 week since the discovery of Jacqueline Torres' remains, we've learned she likely died about a year ago, and her mother, Carla Garcia, is accused of hiding her body since then. Yaxie Garcia is only 11 years older than her niece, Carla. She says she helped raise her, as well as Carla's sister, Jacqueline Garcia. She met Jonathan Nanita years ago when they began dating. She had heard from family that Jonathan had abused Carla.
He was beating on her, doing some crazy stuff to her.
Yaxie Garcia says Jacqueline Torres was largely raised by her father's side of the family, but Carla gained custody of her about 3 years ago, bringing her into a household with her and Jonathan.
When I found out that Carla had custody of Mimi, my jaw dropped, and I said, how?
Despite having gone on family vacations with one another, the family drifted apart in recent years. And Yaxie says Carla didn't let many people into Jacqueline Torres' life.
Sadly, I just found 2 pictures in my phone. She wasn't around our family.
Between that, being removed from New Britain schools, and Jacqueline's father moving out of state, Yaxie says that's how she believes the girl's disappearance went unnoticed since her death about a year ago.
I would have definitely asked questions. I would have made phone calls. I would have done anything that was in my power to find out what was going on.
On Tuesday, Carla and her sister Jacqueline, as well as her boyfriend Jonathan, all made their first appearances in court.
Those are not my nieces. Those are not the girls that I raised. They look crazy, like.
Yaxie is the one who shouted from the gallery while Jonathan stood before a judge.
Yes, that was me. Even if Carla or Jacqueline was the one who came out last, I was still going to have the same reaction that I had.
Which was?
Which was anger, the outburst. You're a baby killer. You're a pig. You're disgusting. I hope you get what you deserve.
That is wild. That is wild. That's a wild story. I got to follow up on that one. I'm definitely will be following up on that. All right, let's continue on to some more news. What's this one? I don't know what this is about.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us here at 4. I'm Kevin Nathan.
And I'm Amber Diaz. We begin with that breaking news. State police have charged a 27-year-old mother from Washington Depot with the death of her infant.
She was set to appear in Torrington Superior Court today. That's where we find our colleague, NBC Connecticut's Kevin Geis, who joins us live with the very latest. Kevin?
Yeah, Kevin, Amber, good evening. If you remember back in June, initially this call went out as a silver alert. Police later found 27-year-old Sadie Fleming with serious injuries and that baby dead. But the circumstances around that death were a complete mystery. We now know they were looking into a potential murder investigation. She appeared here in Torrington Superior Court earlier today. At the time, this rocked the Washington community. 27-year-old Sadie Fleming arrested and charged in the death of her 1-month-old infant son Hudson. What started as a silver alert for Fleming and the infant in June later turned to a murder investigation, according to an arrest warrant. Neighbors were devastated to hear of the death at the time.
Very sad situation to see a month-old baby just beginning life.
According to court documents, after a search, Fleming was found walking on Blackville Road with no sign of Hudson. The warrant says Fleming was responsive but disoriented and later became unresponsive and was transported to the hospital. An hour later, Hudson was found in a nearby Mallory Brook. He was declared dead at the hospital. His cause of death, drowning. Town leadership noting back in June how the death of a baby could be felt around town.
Everyone knows everyone, and it has impacted every corner of our community.
Court documents also outline a history of mental health crises. Police say in an interview with Fleming, she says she woke up in the early hours of June 8th and believed she was being chased. She explained she took off on foot from her home after her mother's car wouldn't start, but made no mention of Hudson in her interview.
Sad for a newborn dying so early.
Now, Fleming was issued a $2 million bond. She's due back here in court on November 7th. At the time we spoke with the first selectman in Washington, we have reached out to the town for an updated comment, but have not heard back at this point. We're live in Torrington tonight. Kevin Geis, NBC Connecticut News. Guys, back to you.
All right, let's keep it moving.
With breaking news.
And we start with that breaking news here at 5. A young mother from Washington, Connecticut has been charged with murder after state police say she drowned her 1-month-old son.
Oh my
Thanks
God.
for being with us here on Eyewitness News at 5, everyone.
In Connecticut?
Simone. And good evening, I'm Erin Connolly. It's a heartbreaking story we've
Oh,
been following
no.
since June. State police say the mother told them she thought someone was after them. Let's get right to your chief investigative reporter, Sam Smink, with these tragic details. Sam.
It really is a tragic story. Police say 27-year-old Sadie Fleming killed her son Hudson after a family member reported the two missing on June 8th and a silver alert went out. That family member said Fleming had been hearing voices during the past week.
State police say hours after their silver alert went out, someone found Fleming walking along the road by herself. Police said Sadie's clothing was soaking wet and her mental state appeared to be altered. When asked where her baby was, police say Fleming asked what baby. Baby Hudson was found an hour later in Mallory Brook, having been drowned. State police say they learned Fleming had been seeking mental health treatment since 2019 after hearing voices and self-harming. Police say Sadie said a few days ago the thoughts of Illuminati people trying to get her started. They say earlier in the week she had requested a telehealth appointment with doctors because she was having paranoia again and feeling manic. 2 days before the murder, a doctor said Sadie was, quote, more organized.
She did not have that baby on her.
According to her arrest report, DCF had an open investigation with Fleming. Police say Fleming was scared the baby would be taken away. Fleming is charged with special circumstances and will be in court on November 7th. Your chief investigative reporter, Sam, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Sam, thank you. Today in Hampton.
That's crazy. What's going on, man? Like, what did they want to see another report here.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us here at 4. I'm Kevin Nathan.
And I'm Amber Diaz. We begin with that breaking news. State police have charged a 27-year-old mother from Washington Depot with the death of her infant.
She was set to appear in Torrington Superior Court today. That's where we find our colleague, NBC Connecticut's Kevin Geis, who joins us live with the very latest. Kevin?
Kevin Amber, good evening. If you remember back in June, initially this call went out as a silver alert. Police later found 27-year-old Sadie Fleming with serious injuries and that baby dead. But the circumstances around that death were a complete mystery. We now know they were looking into a potential murder investigation. She appeared here in Torrington Superior Court earlier today. At the time, this rocked the Washington community. 27-year-old Sadie Fleming arrested and charged in the death of her 1-month-old infant son, Hudson. What started as a silver alert for Fleming and the infant in June later turned to a murder investigation, according to an arrest warrant. Neighbors were devastated to hear of the death at the time.
Very sad situation to see a month-old baby just beginning life.
According to court documents, after a search, Fleming was found walking on Blackville Road with no sign of Hudson. The warrant says Fleming was responsive but disoriented and later became unresponsive and was transported to the hospital. An hour later, Hudson was found in a nearby Mallory Brook. He was declared dead at the hospital. His cause of death, drowning. Town leadership noting back in June how the death of a baby could be felt around town.
Everyone knows everyone, and it has impacted every corner of our community.
Court documents also outline a history of mental health crises.
She should not have that baby.
Fleming, she says she woke up in the early hours of June 8th and
Should
believed
have
she was
taken the
being
baby
chased.
away from
She
her.
explained she took off on foot from her home after her mother's car wouldn't start, but made no mention of Hudson in her interview.
Sad for a newborn dying so early.
Now, Fleming was issued a $2 million bond. She's due back here in court on
$2
November
million?
7th.
She have no bond.
Selectmen in Washington.
In
We have reached out
Connecticut,
to the
man.
town for an updated comment, but have not heard back at this point. We're live in Torrington tonight. Kevin Geis, NBC Connecticut News. Guys, back to you.
That's crazy. I just had to watch it again because that's just crazy. Nancy Pelosi explodes our reporter and tells her to shut up. Oh, let's see Nancy Pelosi get dirty.
Congresswoman Pelosi, are you at all concerned that the new January 6th committee will find you liable for that day? Are you at all concerned about the new January 6th committee finding you liable for that day? Why did you refuse the National Guard on January 6th?
Whoa.
Shut up. I did not refuse the National Guard. The president didn't send it. Why are you coming here with Republican talking points as if you're a serious journalist?
The American people want to know. We still have questions. Thank you.
It's just driving me crazy. This music is like it's just playing with my head. But yeah, she did. Like this lady, she's a mess, man. She needs to be prosecuted. She needs to be investigated properly, and she's gonna have to pay the price. And the price is gonna have to put her ass in a retirement home and out of Washington. Like, bye-bye, lady. You should be retired. You should not be in Washington wreaking havoc. Like, she's crazy. I don't know what's going on here. This one's wearing a mask. Like, what's going on here? We're having a mask on.
Breach the inaugural stuff should we call the Capitol Police?
All right, hold on. Let's rewind it because I want to hear her from the beginning talk like a nut. So this is when the music switched. Okay, so let's play and listen here.
Terry, we did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff should we call the Capitol Police? I mean the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
They they're
That is
doing
not a
because he
question of how
denied
they
them.
have. They don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more.
Here, that's little music will drive me crazy. But Nancy Pelosi, man, she's so that January 6th is just very like always been iffy. But the fact that she turned around and had that explosive moment, it just screams guilty. You know, just might as well scream, I'm guilty, okay? Like, enough. I had enough. I'm 86 years old. We need a full review on that January 6th, and not led by this creep. Like, she needs to be, like, in a retire, like, she needs to be retired. She should go live out the rest of her years and by the beach or somewhere where she could relax. You know? So it is what it is, you know. But look at that face. Look at that face. My goodness. That nose job. Whoever did her nose job did a horrible job. Nancy Pelosi, you're a mess, girl. You're going to go down real fast. Look at that face. Oh my goodness. She looks like the Joker there without the paint in the face. If you painted her face, like take a screenshot of that and tell like Gronk AI to paint her into a clown face, I bet it'd do a really good job. I'm gonna go back and rewatch the show. I'm gonna take a screenshot. Oh, where was it? 3 hours and 25 minutes around there. Take a screenshot and come up with a clown picture for Nancy Pelosi. That would be really good. Nancy Pelosi snapping. She's a snapping turtle. Nancy Pelosi's a snapping turtle. All right, so it's that time of the night again. We're at the final show for the night because I am tired and I got to get to bed. So without further ado, let's set up and put on Tyson De La Cruz. He'll be here tomorrow, 7:30. Be here. Be square. 4:30 for those on the west and the Pacific side. Yeah. 7:30 tomorrow. Me, My Mind or Your Matter, and Tyson with Tyson De La Cruz. And we're going to talk about certain things. We'll see what's up. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I like the chat to participate and talk with Tyson because Tyson, he does reach the chat and he does like to interact. So it's a fun way to interact with the show. So let's go ahead and watch Tyson De La Cruz.
ICE is reportedly targeting rideshare drivers and even travelers at O'Hare.
America, we need to talk about what just happened in O'Hare Airport in Chicago because this story perfectly shows you how illegal immigration has been destroying opportunities for American workers and how it's finally changing. ICE just conducted sweeps at rideshare parking lots, and the reaction tells you everything you need to know about who's really driving your Uber and Lyft.
Federal agents conducted a sweep at a parking lot today for rideshare drivers. The parking lot is just steps from O'Hare Airport.
What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This story is about more than just immigration enforcement. It's about restoring fair competition to American workers who've been getting undercut for years by people who had no legal right to be working here in the first place. Let me break down what happened in O'Hare Alpha Lot, that's designated parking area for rideshare drivers. Federal agents showed up twice a day with unmarked white minivans, and they weren't playing games.
Here's what they were asking of drivers. Are you a U.S. citizen, and do you have proof? And one of the agents even came up to me, asked me the same question.
Two simple questions. Are you a U.S. citizen? Do you have proof? If you couldn't answer yes to both with documentation, you're getting handcuffed and you're getting taken away. That's it. That's how simple immigration enforcement should be. But here's what really tells you the scope of this problem. This parking lot normally has several hundred rideshare vehicles parked there. After ICE raids, about 50 to 60 cars. That's it.
Take a look at this parking lot. It's about 50, 60 cars here, but I am told it is usually packed with several hundred rideshare vehicles, but not today.
Think about that math for a second. You went from hundreds of drivers to dozens. Where did all those other drivers go? They weren't American citizens. That's where they went. They scattered like roaches when the lights came on because they knew that they had no legal right to be working here. That tells you everything you need to know about the scale of illegal employment in the rideshare industry. We're not talking about a few isolated cases. We're talking about the majority of drivers in one of America's busiest airports being people who shouldn't have been working here legally. Now, here's the beautiful part of this story. The drivers who stayed, they are legal. They are American citizens. They are people who have every right to be working these jobs.
The rideshare drivers here at the airport, they have their phones ready to go. They've been shooting all kinds of video and pictures. When ICE was spotted here, detaining people.
And you know what these legal drivers are doing now? They're talking about getting more rideshare requests, more calls, more money, better rates, because the people who were driving down wages by working illegally are gone. This is basic economics. When you have people willing to work for below market rates because they're desperate and need to stay under the radar, what happens to wages for everyone else? They crash. Legal drivers couldn't compete because illegal drivers were willing to work for scraps. But now that unfair competition has been eliminated, American workers can finally charge what their services are actually worth. They can demand proper working conditions. They can report safety violations without fear. They can operate legitimate businesses instead of competing against people who were cutting every corner because they weren't supposed to be here.
The drivers formed a text chain so they could alert other drivers to the presence of ICE. In fact, just a few minutes ago, they reported a white van that was just in this parking lot because it looked like one of the vans that ICE was using.
Look at this. They had organized text chains to warn each other about ICE presence. This wasn't casual illegal employment. This was an organized system of people who knew that they were breaking the law and they were actively helping each other avoid consequences. They were sharing pictures and videos of federal agents, creating early warning signs, coordinating their illegal activities. This was sophisticated organization to circumvent American immigration and law enforcement. Now here's where it gets really rich. The union representing rideshare drivers put out a statement crying about due process rights being violated and calling this a tax on immigrant families. Hold on a minute. These people were working here illegally. They were undercutting American workers. They were operating without proper documentation, without legal work authorization, probably without proper insurance or background checks. But somehow ICE enforcing immigration law is a problem.
We are deeply concerned that the drivers' due process rights were violated at O'Hare today. This is part of a broader pattern of attacks on immigrant families by an administration that continues to weaponize fear and division instead of investing in solutions in our communities.
Let me explain something to you guys about due process. If you're in the country illegally and you're working without proper authorization, there's your due process. You broke the law. The process is you get deported. You don't get to steal jobs from American citizens, then cry about your rights when you get caught. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. And notice how they frame it. Attacks on immigrant families. No, This is enforcement of immigration law against people who chose to break the law. Legal immigrants who follow the rules aren't being attacked. American citizens aren't being attacked. Only people who are working illegally are affected. The union should be celebrating this. Their legal members just saw their competition eliminated and their earning potential increased dramatically. But instead, they're defending people who are undercutting their own members' wages. Let's talk about something that nobody wants to discuss: the security implications of having hundreds of unauthorized workers operating in one of America's busiest airports.
Witnesses tell us that federal agents came here twice, once in the morning and again in the afternoon. In both instances, multiple people were detained.
When you get into an Uber or a Lyft at O'Hare, you don't know if the driver is legally authorized to work. You don't know if they've passed proper background checks. You don't know if they have legitimate insurance. You don't even know if they're even who they claim to be. When people are working illegally, all those safety measures go out the window. They can't go through proper vetting process because they're not supposed to be here. They can't get legitimate insurance because they don't have legal status. They can't report crimes or cooperate with law enforcement because they're afraid of being discovered. This creates a massive security vulnerability at one of our most important transportation hubs. Thousands of travelers every day who get into vehicles driven by people who had no legal right to be working, who couldn't be properly vetted, and who were operating outside the normal safety and security protocols.
This Uber driver from Guatemala, who did not want his face shown on camera, says he was eating lunch when agents asked him if he was a U.S. citizen.
And notice this driver from Guatemala didn't want his face to be shown on camera. Why? Because he knew he was breaking the law. He knew he shouldn't have been working here. He knew that if his identity was revealed, there would be major consequences. That is not the kind of person you want driving passengers at major airports. You want drivers who are proud to show their faces, who have nothing to hide, who are operating legitimate businesses with proper authorization. What really gets me is how organized this illegal operation was. These weren't just individuals making bad choices. This was a coordinated system to circumvent American law.
Rideshare drivers are sharing these pictures and video of federal agents approaching drivers while they're stopping to eat a meal or while they are out of their cars praying.
They're sharing pictures and videos of federal agents creating intelligence networks to help each other avoid law enforcement. They're portraying themselves as victims. They were just trying to eat, or they were just praying. The reality is they were working here illegally and got caught. And look how they're trying to manipulate public sympathy. They're not just saying we were working without authorization. They're saying we were eating. We were just praying when ICE showed up. They're trying to make it sound like ICE was targeting people for their religion or their basic human needs, when really ICE was targeting people for working illegally.
The drivers are now donating money directly to the spouses and families of those drivers who they say were taken away from this parking lot.
Now they're organizing financial support for families of people who were deported for working illegally. Again, this shows how organized and coordinated this illegal operation was. They have support networks, financial systems, communication channels, everything you'd expect from an organized criminal enterprise. Because that's what it is. Organized crime. When you systematically circumvent immigration and employment law, you create networks to avoid law enforcement. When you undercut legal workers through their illegal means, that's organized criminal activity. This enforcement action at O'Hare is just one example of what's happening across the entire American economy. For decades, illegal workers have been undercutting American wages in industry after industry: construction, landscaping, food services, delivery, and now rideshare driving. When you eliminate unfair competition, what happens? Wages go up, working conditions improve. American workers can actually make a living wage again. Legal immigrants who followed the rules can compete on a level playing field. The people who are working here illegally weren't just hurting themselves, they were hurting every legitimate worker in the industry by driving down standards across the board. They were willing to work for less money in worse conditions with no benefits, no protection, no resources if they get mistreated. That creates a race to the bottom that hurts everyone except for the employers who are exploiting illegal labor. Now that this unfair competition is being eliminated, the market can work the way it's supposed to work. Legal drivers can charge fair prices. They can demand safe working conditions. They can build legitimate businesses instead of operating in the shadows. They can contribute to the tax base instead of working off the books. This is what happens when immigration law is actually enforced. This is what happens when American workers are protected from unfair competition. This is what happens when the system works works the way it's supposed to work. The message from this enforcement is crystal clear. If you want to work in America, do it legally. If you want to drive for rideshare companies, get proper authorization. If you want to compete in American markets, follow American rules.
Many flights arriving at O'Hare this week, carrying people coming for Sunday's Chicago Marathon.
This year, it feels different.
And you know what? It should feel different. For far too long, we've had a system where people could break our immigration law, work illegally, undercut American workers, and face no consequences. That era is over. American workers deserve fair competition, not to be undercut by people who are willing to work for nothing because they're desperate to avoid detection. Legal immigrants deserve to compete on a level playing field, not to be disadvantaged because they followed the rules. Legal drivers who remained after O'Hare after the raids are about to have a much better year, not because of government handouts, but because illegal competition has been eliminated, not because of special programs, but because the law is finally being enforced. This is how the free market is supposed to work, with fair competition between people who have the legal right to participate in it. America, this is what real immigration enforcement looks like. After years of looking the other way while illegal workers undercut American wages, we finally have an administration that's serious about enforcing our laws and protecting American workers. The scenes from O'Hare, according to legacy media, might be dramatic, but it's absolutely necessary. Every person who was arrested had the opportunity to work here legally. They chose not to. They chose to break our immigration laws, undercut American workers, and operate outside the system. Now they're facing the consequences of those actions, and American workers are finally getting the fair competition that they deserve. The people crying about due process and immigrant raids don't want to talk about the rights of American workers who've been getting squeezed out of their own economy for decades. They don't want to talk about legal immigrants who followed the rules and are now competing against people who broke the law. Well, that's changing, and the empty parking lot at O'Hare is proof that when you enforce the law, American workers win. This isn't about being anti-immigrant. It's about being pro-law and pro-American worker. Legal immigrants who follow the rules benefit from this enforcement just as much as American citizens. The bottom line is this: fair competition benefits for everyone except for the people who were cheating the system, and it's about time the cheating stopped. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you, Tyson the Cruz, for the upload. Yeah, it's kind of weird how they scattered like roaches when Ice Baby comes out to introduce themselves, and the whole lot is like empty. I was like, holy shit! You have a lot of taxis there like competing, try to get like a customer, and now they're nowhere to be seen. Like now there's jobs. Like if you want to get a job now, like Uber drivers, Americans, listen, you could be making money. I'm telling you. But I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm tired. I had a good show. I did a show early this morning. It lasted a long while. And this one was a good long while too. So with that said, have a good morning, good afternoon, and good night, wherever you're at. And I'll catch you on the flip side. I'll be back on here tomorrow at 7:30 with Tyson de la Cruz. So it'll be interesting. It'll be fun. Just be here with some questions, and let's all have a good time. All right, guys. Have a good night and be peaceful. Peace.